What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have T. Shanley as a sponsor of today's video. T. Shanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But there's and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing? Welcome to the People Sunday is what introduced the crew. We got Miss Shan Monet, Chicago Rilla, Luis, Miss Coco Stiletto, Hinkney, myself, Lapeef JR. Welcome to the People Sunday. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Peace, peace, peace.
What's happening now?
What's going on, family? Happy Sunday.
Another day in the paradise, man. Another day. I almost lost track, man, with all the holidays, man.
It
almost seemed like Friday, felt like Sunday.
It did. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Nevertheless, blessed to be here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your holidays and was able to spend it with family and friends, and everybody ate good, was able to get what was needed to be done. Today is December 1st, a new month, which the holidays are still continuing. I feel sorry for you if your birthday is in December, because you may miss out on some of them gifts because they may just put them all together. But that's on you. That's on you, man. Blame your parents. Don't blame us. Hopefully, Santa is going to be giving you guys what you deserve, because a lot of people feel like they deserve things. I don't think they earned it, but they deserve it. Hopefully, Santa comes and drops in your doorway, present that prize.
Well, you know what it is too, JR? It's like when we all go through that little bit moment of adversity or that tough time, right? Like the economy isn't as strong as it was in the past few years, or people are getting laid off and they need to kind of rethink the path of what they're going to do, or you might have to size down. Everybody all of a sudden is like, I need to do me. And it's like, no, these are just obstacles in your path to kind of teach you how to get through them and show you what tough times look like so you could prosper in the good times.
Mm.
And I think sometimes people forget the lessons of life.
Okay. Appreciate that word from you. Looking nice, Miss Coco. Got your red on.
Thank you.
Okay.
My dog keeps trying to drink my coffee.
Okay.
Miss Coco over there looking like Christmas morning.
What? I look like who?
I said Miss Coco over here looking like Christmas morning.
It's Coco. You guys know I'm gonna show up. Get out of my coffee. You know what? Sorry.
No, that's fine. Okay. They're gonna get you a lid.
He didn't get in it while I'm still drinking it.
Okay, you got to get you a closed lid. Miss Coco, I know it's early. Man.
I
Okay.
was having my cafe morning before the podcast, so I
Okay.
was already like this before this podcast. So you guys just kind of joined in on my morning.
Okay. I woke up like this. Okay. Got
Correct.
it. All right. Shout out to Beyonce. I woke up like this. Anyhow, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys click that link that's in the description. Teach is doing some Black Friday deals. I know we got Black Friday gonna probably roll back around again end of the month, but early Black Friday deals and half off skincare routines. That link is in the description. So feel it, Teach, as I always say. We had a great discussion ahead. Is it cheating or an arrangement? Is it cheating or an arrangement? I got some clips that I'm going to play from the interview with Dr. Sarah and Cam Newton. Cam Newton has found himself always in these discussions, but the goal is not to dwell on their relationship in particular, the media aspect of it, but seeing if we can tie it back into our own realities and the realities of the people that may be watching, because these are important topics, man. Relationships are a big thing, not only romantically, but just relationships, period. So I don't think relationship and podcast is not going somewhere. They're not going anywhere, but I do think it's important for us to start to elevate the conversation and get a little bit deeper into our own realities as far as what's happening, seeing if we can highlight some problems that we may not knew that exist. You may be able to find a solution in there, you may not, but to each his own. You're not going to be able to satisfy everybody. So let's have a great discussion today. Let's go ahead and open it up. Everybody good? Yeah, good to see you, Rilla. So you
Good
got
to be seen, my brother. Can y'all hear me all right?
yeah, we can hear you, man. So you got that game in chat, huh?
Man, life changing. Yeah, life changing. Yeah.
So you got some figures back there like Hink, man. I see you been taking notes, huh?
I'm not, man, L likes like mines. You know what I'm saying? I got the one that Hank missed out on, though. I got one of the ones he missed out on. He got me beat, though. He got me beat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he got some presents on the couch for us, I see. Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad you said that, JR. Shout out to you for bringing that up. That's for my Angel Tree kids that I do every year. I usually do 2 young boys that I collect, and went shopping yesterday for Black Friday and did an Angel Tree just give back in a way to give back to the community and to the neighborhood, because I was one of them kids who was less fortunate, and I benefited from the Angel Tree, so I thought I'd give back. So that's what those are behind.
Shout out to Hink, man. For blessing those two youngins. 2 youngins, man. We definitely need it, man. I didn't have much growing up. So I know how it may be, man. Everybody else got everything, and you just sitting back. I was appreciative of what I had, man. I didn't even realize I didn't have anything until I started seeing people had stuff. I just thought it was part of my norm. Anyhow,
That's true.
let's go ahead and get it started, man. So the first part of this conversation I want to highlight, they spoke about staying power. Staying power. So I'm going to play a little bit of this clip and let's go ahead and react to it.
May I?
Please.
I do think one thing, though, and this is outside looking in, this is just an opinion. It does not make me right. But I do think that from what I've, and I'm new to like the whole conversations that you've been having, like the newer conversations. I've been watching the newer conversations. The one thing that I do think is, even though it's the truth, there's a way to tell it. And what I mean by that is, I would love to see more of a protection around y'all as a unit. And why I say that is because if she's responding, does she feel protected? Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
But this is what I tell her, baby. It's too many.
I just want to stop it right there. I know we got a couple ladies on the panel, and he mentioned about being protected, right? How important is it for a woman to feel protected, for the men that may not know, or maybe it might not be a thing. Maybe it might just be a thing for you, but how important is it to feel protected in a relationship?
Extremely. I think it would, I mean, for a guy to understand, I think it may be right up there with respect for a man, right? So it's pretty important.
Okay, so
to feel protected in a relationship. Because what else is there without protection?
Well, when they say protected, somebody may be like, protected how? Right? So can you break that down as far as being protected how?
So each person needs protection in different ways, right? So what I may need protecting in may be something totally different. It's such a big, you know, it's so big. It's not just like, oh, physically protected. I need to know our relationship is protected. Whatever you got going on, it's not going to affect our relationship or our household. Protection financially. People don't like to talk about that, but that's the truth. Doesn't mean you're paying for everything. It's just that we're financially secure. Protection as far as emotional protection. You take what I have going on in consideration. You understand where I'm coming from. You because women are emotional, men are logical. So you understand that about a female, and you protect that. You calm me calm me down, I guess, so to speak. You're just there for me. In this case, I would say something like, you know, I think in her situation, are we talking about Jasmine, the girl who's pregnant? I guess I'm not seeing the holes to be able to talk about their situation.
I didn't want you to talk about them. I just was
yeah. So it's going to be per the individual. Every female requires a different level of protection in a different area. It just depends on who they are. But it's just so many areas to be protected in. It's not just one area. It's definitely a series of things that you can be protected in. But it's important. Extremely important.
All right. What about you, Ms. Coco? And I'll come to Rilla.
Well, Shan said everything. I mean, for the most part, I think men sometimes lack protecting women in the emotional aspect. For example, I know we're not talking about them, but for example, I mean, with him talking out loud about their relationship, she claims that they discuss it so she knows what he's going to say about them before he goes on hand. But the backlash she gets afterwards, that's not protecting her emotions and her mental. So, like Shannon said, it's an individual thing. And in that aspect, even though she's claiming to be happy, she can't possibly be behind the scenes mentally okay with everything, especially for the people that's followed her. I've been following her for maybe over 10 years since I was in Vegas. And she started off being that girl that joked about the chicks that would accept anything for a guy just to say they got a man, won't leave a man just so they can say they kept one. So it's just interesting to see the change on the other side from her being that type of woman to going into a complete servant and just completely accepting him to control the relationship publicly and personally. So for that, with an example, like men don't protect women's emotions, and that causes women to lose their mind. That's why they start doing crazy stuff. That's why y'all windows get busted out, like all this stuff. Because, you know, some women can't control their emotions, so they act out of emotion. And I think the men are the one that's supposed to lead that. If you don't know how to calm a woman down and you don't know how to make a woman feel emotionally protected, then you kind of out of order as a man. That's how I feel.
And can I add something to that so they can just better understand it too? I think that, sorry, jumping. Give you an example, especially in the dating phase, right? I think men know that once you get a woman emotionally, you got her, right? So it's what you're going to do with that, because women are not necessarily, when a woman is in love, she ain't the person she is when she ain't in love, okay? You have her entire heart. Ain't too much she wouldn't do for you if she's in love with you. But how are you going to handle that? Are you going to use it for the good? Or are you going to lead her down a toxic path? Because we know y'all had a woman who was in love with y'all. You know what love feels like, right? And when a woman is in love, it's almost like she loses her mind. Her friends are like, what the girl? And so sometimes, that one dude comes in there and he got you just hit, like you literally lost your mind. Your logic has left the building, right? And so protection, if you're with the right man, he understands the power of your love and how much it has over you. And that's like your superpower, your love, right? And he uses it for the good, not necessarily to do, take advantage of you in any way, form, or fashion. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, go ahead, Rilla. I know you wanted to say something.
No, I just, I guess slight pushback. So I think when we have these conversations, the nuances are the nuances, right? So we understand the details. Mm-hmm. But ladies, for the most part, I know y'all like to say, like, everybody's an individual. If me, Hank, JR, and Luis was to have a conversation around women and just didn't put a name on it, we would speak in generalities, and each brother would be like, yep, I get what you're saying. Yep, I understand. Right? So what both of you all ended up saying was, and I agree with you, is that women prioritize their emotions being protected, right? And that's fair, right? And I think it's important because when JR opened up the floor, he said, I don't want y'all to respond to their situation. I want y'all to give the people something. And a lot of times if we're saying like, well, each person is individual, that part is true, but there are some overarching generalities that everybody can align and agree on. And for that, I would think it would be women prioritizing their emotions. But I also think that if a man is a good leader, then he should be aware of that and deal with that accordingly. Like, you got to know how to read a room. You got to know your person, who you're dealing with, and address them accordingly. I'm on mute.
And can I say this real fast to Chicago? The reason why I say some women, because I'm gonna be real with you, this new generation, I don't think emotions has anything to do with it. I think a lot of them are like my past generation. You want to be in love with your partner. This is the guy who you are feeling like that. This new one, some people get married just to be married. Some people like, oh, he looks good on paper. So in that case, they're going up from the head and not necessarily the heart. So I just wanted to get everybody, but you're absolutely right. For the most part, most women, the majority of women want to be emotionally protected. You're absolutely correct. I agree.
Yeah, and Shan, they're still humans. Like, God didn't create them any different, right? But I understand like these, because I say the same thing at 50, like, yo, this new generation, is different, and they are. But only the players change. The game remains the same.
All right, let me go ahead and comb through some more of this clip.
Fuck shit going on out here, and we locked in.
Yeah.
We locked in. I'm locked in with you. Mm-hmm. I'm in love with you. So for me to have to explain to the masses something that they don't even know or they don't even want to know,
right?
Why the fuck is that even important? My thing is exposing the fuck shit, and by saying, hold on, bro. I can have this conversation, and I can go back home and I have another conversation, and we still are locked in even more. I don't gotta lie.
I agree.
I don't have to perpetrate this lifestyle of something. And when I say cheating, when I say other women, this ain't something that always is happening actively. Mm-hmm. We've been together going on 5 years. Mm-hmm. So for me, when those certain questions are asked, I'm talking about over the span of 5 years.
Yeah.
And she knows everything, just like I know everything. It's too much, okay, I'm going to choose this and deal with that and not, don't tell me that. Because this is what I mean when I go back to the statement I said, you want the benefits, but you don't want the bullshit. Mm-hmm. You want the Birkin bag, you want the Cartier love bracelet, you want the house, you want the car, you want this. But when I need you, when I'm coming to you in a vulnerable state to say, babe, I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy with you.
Right.
I'm not happy with how business is going right now.
Yeah.
This is what triggers me. Okay, my trigger may be different than Cam, than Sam, than Dan, or Donald.
Right.
Because for Cam, it may be sex. For Donald, it may be domestic violence.
Right.
For Sam, it may be alcoholism. For Donald or Dan, it may be drug abuse. So, bullshit, benefits. You don't get to pick up the baggage that you want. You have to say, what's your, what you said, stay power?
Staying power.
Staying power.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to have you as a hostage more so than a volunteer.
Right.
Because I'm volunteering to be with you daily. I don't want you to be no hostage where it's like, man, he gonna do this or I gotta stay because, no. That's not that. Because if you want to ask yourself this ain't no new way of living. That's what people are so delusion about.
The delusion
this
is real.
shit been happening for years.
Yeah.
Uncles, aunties,
Yeah.
dads, granddads, like everybody has always dealt with temptation.
Yeah.
And that's where I asked, have you been able to have that ecosystem? Because for me, I've learned with certain things, a lot of people can't cope with my lifestyle.
Most will never understand
That,
to even know that they can or not.
But
Well, like a little bit more of that clip left, but I am gonna finish it on out. But he made some interesting points, and one of the things that he brought up was like the top 1%, right? Let's not focus so much on the top 1% because the 1%, there's a factual 1% that's out there, and then there's like a smaller pocket of communities where people are looked at to be the 1%. You know, if you're making, let's say, 100,000, 120,000, sometimes in some cases 90,000, you're considered like the 1% within that community of pool of men. So if you are that person that's in that 1%, do you think they have a little bit more wiggle room to go out and cheat? Like, is it one of those things where a woman would expect it, but she may just kind of turn her head and not pay too much attention to it unless it becomes a public thing? What do you say, ladies or men?
You know, the men can go, but I do have something to say about this. Because I feel bad. We've been talking.
I mean, it doesn't really. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't really come down to money. I think it comes down to principles. It comes down to principles, and it comes down to agreements. Talked about agreements, right? I just think that sometimes people think that because they're in a certain tax bracket or they make a certain amount of income that they should operate in a certain in a certain manner where they lack decorum, right? It's like people who make less than 50,000 should humble themselves and should bow in front of everybody as they walk through and scatter through society. And then once you cross this threshold, you should operate in this kind of manner. I think that's a fallacy, and I think it's a terrible paradigm to kind of try to push. I think what happens is that we tend to kind of look at the people who we want to be, or some people want to become, and they kind of model their life around that, not understanding any of the foundational pillars in which they stand on. So for me, 100,000, the new 100,000 is 156,000. Let's start right there. The new 100K is 156. That's where the bar starts at. So if anything, you have to be at that benchmark, and then we could push forward. But even then, I don't think it's really about, people doing whatever they want in relationships. I think what happens is that I think there's a level of ego and arrogance that tends to show up, and they feel that they could treat or talk to their person any particular type of way. Now, if there's a certain lifestyle in which you adhere to, bring it up. Look, this is how I see or foresee my life and how it's structured and these parameters. I just want to let you know this is how I view things. If you're on board and you agree with it, great. If you're not, I totally understand. Yo, let me tell you, there are people who are willing to sign up for what you want. There are people out there who want what you want. Stop trying to convince people who don't want what you want to want what you want. Because that's where the moment of friction starts to happen, where the headaches and the issues. And if you are making that bag, you're spending more time trying to fix on your relationship and get through these headaches rather than focusing on your business, rather than focusing on your job or your career, rather focusing on your investments. Don't create situations in your life where they bring headaches and issues. Everything moves kosher every single day. Imagine turning on your car every single day and that bitch does not work. It's not turned on, doesn't work, it's not reliable. That is what your relationship is like. Every day is an issue. You can't get from A to B smoothly because unfortunately, there's always an issue. It disrupts your day, disrupts your week. It just disrupts the natural flow of things of how you operate in your business or how you operate in your job function, right? You need to be highly functional. And that's about making sure that the people that you talk to and the people that you usher into your life, that they're in alignment with you, because if not, let them go. Let them find somebody else who that wants what they want. And I promise you, once you let that go, like that car, you can't park the new car in the garage where the old car still sits. You gotta let it go. So
Okay. Let's go to Shan, and then we get Kelly in there. Go ahead, Shan.
So I agree with Luis on this one, right? Everybody doesn't need to know your business, even if it's an understanding between you and your wife or your girlfriend, whoever. That ain't for you to tell everybody, because she may have made that understanding with you and her, long as you guys know. But just like Coco said, when the public knows, you're going to be judged, right? And it's not going to even just be you being judged. Your it trickles down to your kids as well, because then they'll start getting picked on and all that kind of stuff. And the difference between our grandfathers and the tackiness that's going on right now is you had to find out through the streets that something was going on. Your granddaddy did everything in his might to let that side chick know you need to keep your mouth closed. When I found out, never mind, let me put my business down the street. You usually find those things out at funerals. That granddaddy had a whole nother family. It wasn't, he did everything he could to protect his wife. And I'm going to leave it like that. All this, okay, everybody got power in your relationship. You out here talking and downplaying your household. That's not, that's not appropriate. That's not the right way to do things. It's not okay. It used to be a time where you didn't brag about dysfunction, right? You knew it was wrong. Why are you bragging about it like it's a badge of honor? It's wrong. You keep that shit a secret. Keep it to yourself. We don't need to know what's going on, what's keeping your household together. So that's all I have to say.
All right, go ahead, Miss Kelly.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, perfect. So yeah, I think that it all boils down to the standards that we put on ourselves, the standards that our parents have put on us. How life happens, and what the Bible says, what everybody talks about is monogamy, right? And I personally don't think that there's a right or a wrong in terms of like how you may, handle your relationship. I think that it's all about vulnerability. A lot of people don't have the courage to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is what I want, because your job is to meet your partner's needs, period. So if my needs aren't being met and I tell you what my needs are, if you can't meet them, either we got to figure out how to meet my needs, or we got to move around, shift some things. Because in relationships, everybody should still be their individual priority, and we should just be two whole people that are meshing together to make a whole relationship. So I don't know. I feel like there's definitely a double standard because women could do the same thing. Is it cheating if women do it? Because we can definitely get we can get who we want just as fast as y'all can get who y'all want. So my question or my challenge would be to the guys, it's like, if this is something that, men feel that they could do, would they be okay with their wives doing the same thing? Or is that another double standard that we have to suck up?
Well, I mean, I think it just depends. Like, if you had the conversation at the beginning of the relationship, at the beginning of the introduction, the courting, and the dating process, I would think that it would be laid out clearly and people understand where they operate in that relationship. But if you've already laid down that this is a monogamous relationship and that we're heading towards marriage or we're heading towards life partnership, whatever the case may be, and then in that process, that person says, I want to do this, I'm going in this direction. Now it goes against everything that you've already set up. And I get it. You have to be malleable and you have to be adjustable, right? But I think there are certain lines in which people are not willing to cross. They already established whatever their boundaries are. And I'm pretty sure that people communicate that what their non-negotiables are at the beginning of the relationship. Look, I don't accept this, I don't tolerate this, don't ever do this to me, etc. They lay those things out and you know what they are. And there's a healthy fear placed on those because you know the moment that you step out of line, you will lose that person. So it's very important to understand the intentionality behind it.
I don't know. I feel like people evolve, people naturally evolve. So we're talking about a partnership, a lifetime partnership. I'm not going to be the same person who I was when I made those rules back in 15 years ago. So I would appreciate it more if my partner learned me and understood where I was coming from, more so than telling me what his boundaries are, because we all got to compromise at some point. And so, say, for example, I started a monogamous relationship with somebody and he then 10 years down the line says that he wants to have an open relationship. That's something I have to consider, right? Like you said, like it's something that either I have to consider or I have to consider losing him. But I think the problem is that it has to be reciprocal. It's always what the man should do versus what the woman should do. And if we make it reciprocal, would the men still have that same opinion?
I understand that, and I agree to the point that people are not going to stay the same, in their journey together. They're going to change, grow, and evolve. That's absolutely true. I just find that today, I don't think a lot of men have either the confidence, the backbone, or the support to kind of state what they want. Like, this is what I truly want. This is what I'm programmed to want, but this is what I truly want. And a lot of people out here are not living their truth. A lot of people out here not living their truth, and they're creating a lot of chaos because they can't be honest, not only to themselves, but the person that they're with. And it creates a lot of issues. If you want an open relationship, won't you just say that from the beginning? If you don't want marriage, why you just don't say that from the beginning? And if it changes and evolve, won't you have the conversation that leads to that? Well, I don't think this will work for me because of X, Y, and Z. And people get to move around, right? Unfortunately, what happens is that people play a dangerous life games with people's feelings, emotions over time, and they sell them a bad bag of goods. And sort of they lead down to these chapters where we find out on the news that the husband did this or the wife did that. All these things could be avoided, but the reality is that a lot of people, through either social pressures or social normalities, are kind of put into this sort of rigorous box where they have to conform or operate in a certain manner that is outside their own makeup. Right? That's just not who they are. They're playing a character in the part, unfortunately.
All right, let me get Hink in there. Thoughts about this conversation, Hink?
Man, I just want the audience to hear as men how much work we have to do and how hard it is to be a man in a relationship. Because one person said we need to figure them out. So now we got to play the guessing game. Another person said we got to make sure they emotionally where they need to be at. Because if not, it's our fault. We have to balance all of that bullshit and still deal with what we got to do on a daily basis. When we go out that street with Mr. Charlie, is on our ass because he got a certain deadline that needs to be met, and we got to meet it. Oh, fuck you. We don't give a shit. My emotional stability needs to be in order. You need to figure out what's going on with me, even though you can open your goddamn mouth like a grown-ass woman, and you can tell us. Instead, we got to play Pictionary with your ass. And that's a goddamn shame. As far as this thing with Cam, I don't know what he must like to be spanked and beat on by these women, because every time they come on the show, they whooping his goddamn ass on a regular basis. Now, he might be a kinky motherfucker like that. It just might be his thing, where he just like to get verbally abused by these women. But as far as making arrangements, I don't know. I mean, if they already have an understanding from the giddy up that this is what they want to do, he's going to step out and do his thing, then she can't be mad at him. She can't be. Now, if there's a problem with the negotiation, she needs to take it back to the table and renegotiate. If not, we got to go off the original negotiation, the original contract. Unless you send an addendum in and you rewrite this contract, we going off the original contract that we originally agreed on. You agreed on it because you're still with this son of a bitch. If you wasn't, you would have got out soon as it happened. Instead, you decided to stay there, so you got to abide by the contract until the contracts change or adjust. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to add? All right, let me just highlight these couple super chats. Harrison Davidson, 499 says, salute. Elevated Mind Healer says, hope everyone had a good holiday. Everyone who celebrated and those who don't, peace to all. I want to thank everybody who has contributed thus far. Let's go ahead and keep it rolling.
I want clarity because I saw a clip that you did and it went viral, and it was talking about relationships, and you had said what you said about your relationship now and how it hasn't always been that person. And I think for me, inside of that, my mind immediately went to, well, is this really cheating or is this an arrangement? Because I think that a lot of the times people that don't understand or don't know, or they're so quick to label something. Oh, that man's a cheater. He's a cheater. Is he? Or is this something that you guys have decided and come from an empowering way where now, you know, she may feel like she has to respond or whatever it is. But the truth is she only feels like she has to respond because people don't know what it is.
For sure.
So I think that ultimately, because most men, most high value, high earning, masculine men with a lot of options at a certain time of their life will still exercise those options. That's just the reality of the situation. And also, I think that if you talk about it in an empowering way of we are grown adults and we know exactly what we're signing up for, that sounds a little bit different than, you know, I get to do what I want to do. For sure. You know what I mean? Just the difference between this is an arrangement or this is cheating. I don't think most people understand that because most people will never be in the top 1% of the 1%, nor date the.
Now, I understand. I'm going to stop it there for a second. I do understand about good communication, but if a man says to you, hey, I want to date you and I also want to date multiple women, do you think that a lot of women will go for this? Is it something that you think it's normal for people to say, or do you think that people kind of go behind women's back because they know it's not the norm, or they know that the woman really not going to go for it?
I think that no, go ahead. I can go. I forgot the question. You can go ahead.
It was so he brought up about just having a conversation with the person that you're with and saying, hey, let's say hypothetically, if you dating a man and the man says, you know, I'm really feeling you. I'm not looking to settle down with one person. I want to have a man, but I want to date multiple women. Do you think that a lot of women would be comfortable with that?
I personally do, because it's all about how you categorize that man now, right? Like, what that means is that we're friends, cool. So until I find the one I actually want, you can hang around. I think it's all about how you categorize that man, because he's categorized you.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just gonna wake this up. In 2024, going into 2025, a year of our Lord, you gentlemen should definitely bring that up, because I'm gonna tell you why. These women are out here, trying to get with men who are already taken, who are already off the market, who are already married, who are already spoken for, and they're trying to get their attention. They don't mind being the plus one. They don't mind being the side chick. They don't mind being the silent girlfriend or the added party. They honestly know how to play their role in their position. And I'm seeing that far more often than dudes actually operating from the mind frame of what JR had described and being like, look, I don't think I want to be with one person. I think I want to, be in an open situation, or I want to be non-monogamous, whatever the situation is. I find that a lot of dudes don't have the courage to speak out what they want and stand on it because of the backlash that they will receive from their community, from society as a whole. Today, because of the power of social media and the internet, this microphone is a loudspeaker on an international level. So these conversations that are happening here, they're not happening city side, state side, East Coast side, nation side. It's happening internationally. And what is happening is that a lot of people are starting to wake up to understand that, hey, maybe that thought and feeling that I was having, I think I want to voice that. I've been suppressing that for so long that now I think it's an opportunity for me to, air my grievances or air my interests, right? And I just think that if people were a lot more brave and a lot more open about it, you'd be surprised at what kind of results or acceptance they would get. One thing I would say before you embark down that journey, this is specifically for the men, before you walk down and embark that journey, make sure you wake up every single day and you look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you that guy? And are you working to be that guy? Don't be homeless, couch surfing, getting one haircut a month, and not having, any of JR's and Sherman, beard products, man, and you out here looking like a dusty. Carry yourself in a particular type of manner to want and garner the type of respect and the type of outcome that you want, because you hold yourself to a certain standard and you're moving in a certain manner. So I yield.
Okay, I kind of want to go ahead, Real. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just gonna say really quick. So this is where I agree with Shan in terms of breaking it out by demographics. So I think Generation X and I think it's late millennials, like that mentality is dying off. That mentality, like, I'm scared and I gotta cheat because I don't want her to find out, and the shame of da 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 da. These shorties are savages. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? She going, he going, they going. They going. They going. Listen, the females are telling these dudes they in a situationship. I got you, and him. And part of the problem is I find fewer people, Luis, are dating with intentionality. I find fewer people are dating for the sole purpose of building family and community. And we are literally living at a time where people will continue to play and just let me see if this works. Let me see if that works. Right. And people's inhibitions are lower. And the music is telling them, I got this one, I got a side, I got a foreign, I got a main, I got da 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 da. And the females are cool with it, but guess what? The dudes are cool with being sides too. So to Sister Kelly, if the shoes were reversed, was good for the goose is good for the gander. Dudes are cool with being sides too. They know how to play their part too. Go ahead, Shan.
It's not the same though, because I do remember a couple of years ago when y'all was going down Jada's throat, because it was clear her and Will had an understanding. And as soon as August or whatever his name is opened his mouth, y'all was coming for Jada. And everybody knew since the 90s they was, swingers. Come on, we heard that back in the day. It's just this little incident happened. He went and started talking because he's a little youngin'. And now they got to air out their dirty laundry at the table. And so because it was the female, because let's be very clear, I'm sure Will has some stuff going on too, right? He just didn't get caught. So everybody went down Jada's throat about what was going on. So that's one thing. It's a double standard, right? The next thing is, I think that when so I get what you're saying, Chicago, and I absolutely agree. I think that it's going to come with a consequence, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because what I do also know, so what I also know about this new generation, because I've had the honor of looking at them, teaching them and all that stuff, they have no loyalty, right? Not to a job, not to anything. So, and it reminds me of Thanksgiving. Like, for example, for Thanksgiving, all the women were in the kitchen. We were all making food. And the men were sitting at the table. They were just waiting, watching the game. And we served them all of those good things. I had an uncle who, he did it right. Don't get it twisted. His wife just passed before he did, and he lived a couple of towns over, but he had to spend that time with himself because he's not mobile, right? And so he's going through this lonely period because unfortunately his wife, like I said, he did it right. He married, but unfortunately his wife did pass away before him. And so sometimes I think people don't think about the long-term effect of their decisions early on. Unfortunately, that happened to him. But how about the people who are like intentionally putting themselves in this position where they'll end up being by themselves? Somebody has to take care of them. What if he didn't have nieces and nephews to come, or nieces, because the boys didn't do that, to come bring him a plate, or to come look out for him? And that happened on both sides of my family. I had an uncle who passed away. He had no kids. And so who did the responsibility fall on? Me and his sister's grandkids, right? And so a lot of times we don't take things like that in consideration. We just look at it, the fun part of being in a relationship, or what's going on now in a relationship. We don't think about what, you want a companion, somebody who you can go through life with, you can go through different phases of life with. When you get older, you guys are there for each other and so forth. You build a legacy, and your legacy eventually takes care of you. All of those things. And I just think that it's unfortunate because I don't see this younger generation really, like you said, dating with intent. They just are like, whatever, out to get what they can get when they can get it. But I mean, some of them are, but yeah, that's just what I see.
Okay. I think you made a good point. I was sitting here just trying to think really quickly about what's the difference from somebody like leaving a marriage versus them not even like having children and having a family? Is it sort of like the same thing? Because if you leave a marriage, then you kind of wind up back to point A again. Or is it slightly a little different because kids are involved?
What's point A? Alone?
Being single.
Yeah, being alone.
So let me just tell you this.
Is there something wrong with that?
I mean, it's all depends on that person. What I'm hearing now is that it's okay to be alone. It's okay to just focus on your purpose and being happy with self. This is what's being put out there. But then you got some people that actually want to build a legacy, want to have a family, want to do life with somebody. I guess it's kind of subjective as far as how you view it and what's best for you. But on the flip side, I think Shan made a good point. If you don't have any children, have anybody to lean on, once you get up there in age, you're by yourself dealing with these things. And it can be a lonely, cold world when you land up in the hospital and nobody's coming to your aid because the focus was about just you and not extending that focus in other places.
I think and it's okay because that's what auntie power comes in, right? Or uncle power. Like if you're good so they're always their kids there, so there are ways around it, right? If you have a sibling who has kids, so for me, we take care of my uncle because our uncle took care of us when we were younger. He was very involved in our lives, right? We had a very close-knit family. A lot of people are not like that. They don't even live in the same town as their siblings. And it comes to when you are married, let's just say you do get a divorce, your relationship with your kids, even after the divorce, if you continue that relationship, you will hope at least one of the kids takes care of you. All it takes is one. So it's just how I think building relationships. I think that's what it is. And it could be step kids. I know a man, his stepdaughter, his kids are like those kids who like, oh, they're out everywhere in the other countries. And it's his stepdaughter who takes care of him. So, it just depends. relationship, your relationship with the kids and or whoever you're taking care of along the way.
So I think Kelly's question was: Is it a problem with being alone? Yeah, it is, because nobody wants to be alone, not for real. I mean, they may put up a front and say they do until the nights get long and it's cold outside and you ain't got nobody to snuggle up with. Even the Grinch, shout out to the holidays. Even the Grinch needed somebody. He had to change your heart at the end of the show, end of the movie, end of the cartoon, end of the book, however you read it. He realized nobody wants to be alone. Nobody. So I would not put that out there. But I think, like I was saying, Rillo, these young people, they going, look, let me tell you this. They are going at it because they realize girls was already doing that. The girls was already going at it, and then they get to a certain age, you realize, hey, I can't keep doing this. You get old and they get tired of it. The boys are late to the party. Now, these young boys, they doing it now. But back in our day, we wasn't doing all that. We was trying to, get some ass, and when we was in high school and all that, maybe early in college. But, you turn about 25, you trying to settle down, chill a little bit, and find that one woman. Most of us wasn't really going like that, going hard like that. Now, you had some girls they was getting it in. You know what I'm saying? That's why they was always the accentuate the sisters from the Snow Bunny. How the Snow Bunnies be going to college and getting their man. The sisters going to college just to find some more dick. You know what I'm saying? Join the sorority and find some more dick. And they didn't find it in college. They kept their find. They find it in the local workplace, at the local reading, at the local clubs, or the local smoke shops, or whatever the case may be. But now these young boys, they doing the same thing them women was doing back in the days. They out there just getting it in. And they waiting about 30, 35. Matter of fact, some of them won't ever settle down. I talked to some of my son's teammates about marriage. They're like, what is that? They didn't see it in their household. They came up in a single parent home, raised by grandmothers and aunties and not even their own damn parents. They don't want to get married because they said, I don't want to end up like what my parents ended up. Single and divorced and going through all this drama and had to fight over kids about visitation. Where they going to go for the holidays? They said, I don't want to do that. I could just be girlfriend, boyfriend. And if shit don't work out, I'll find me a new woman.
I'm going to tell you something that I've seen, because you said people don't want to be alone. I don't think nobody totally wants to be alone. If they did, then they wouldn't interact with people, right? So I think it is safe to say that a lot of people don't want to actually be alone. But what I do see people, in particular with women, is that usually, I won't say usually, but sometimes women are traumatized by their past experience, and it leads them to want to just be alone and want to not to deal with the BS, right? But they also, there's a form of control where they want to deal with people in spurts. So they want to control how they deal with a person, when they deal with a person, and then when they don't want to be bothered, then they just don't want to deal with that person. So it makes me think about the whole commitment thing, because when you committed, you have to do work. It requires more with a marriage. It requires more if you're in an exclusive serious relationship. And so some people don't want to do the work because they still want to have control of their peace, their time, how their day functions. Because when you with somebody, you got to include them in everything. You got to consider them. And so they don't want to do it. But the downside is that when you're building, you're unable to build a relationship. So when you do get older, when you are looking for somebody to be there for you, it's a little bit difficult because you haven't built that relationship with them in order to get that guarantee. It ain't a guarantee with family. You got to understand, some people just don't want to be bothered. They'll
Can
be
I
there
add?
for you. It's like they'll be there for you, but once they start to go live their lives, it's not a guarantee that they're going to be with you. And I was having this discussion. I think that's what marriage does. Like, you have a job and a duty once you become married, and you're obligated to have to make sure that you're there by them. But if you're not married, like, where's the guarantee at? It's still not a guarantee, but I think if you vet a person correctly and they, tie their marriage or their views to a higher being, then I think that they're more than likely, if they're operating correctly, going to follow those vows. And then I think you have a little bit more security there. When you're just dating somebody, there is no guarantee, there's no security, there's no role and responsibility that they obligated to have to do. Go ahead, Ms. Kelly.
I was gonna first ask Hank what he meant by me. He added me. What does that mean? What did I say?
She's talking about the back chat, Hank.
Yeah, I don't think we talk about the back check on the front end. So I just laughed at what you said in the back check.
Oh,
That's all.
I can't see it. Oh, it's a back check.
We'll talk later. He didn't know. Bless the Lord.
I know, right? But I feel like all those things that you said, nobody wants to be alone, but I feel like being single doesn't equate to being alone. I think being single equates to exactly what was just, kind of represented. It was like, I'm gonna see people in spurts when I feel like it. And the reason for that is because there's a certain level of emotional detachment that you have to have in order to continue this kind of cycle, right? Until you find the person who's actually worth you putting in that work for, who's actually worth you including in your day, who's actually worth you taking consideration of, then everybody else, you just gotta kind of, just like you guys do, right? That's what men do. Like if she's not the one, then I just call her up after 12, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's certain women who men take to places, it's certain women who men do not take to places. You know what I'm saying? There are categories and levels, and I feel like every position needs to be earned. And I feel like a lot of times women give it out too willingly. So I'm not against being in a relationship. I'm divorced. So I was in a marriage at 25. So I feel like I'm on the flip side. I married early. And I divorced till 35. So it's kind of like I'm just now being enlightened to like, the various options that you have as a, adult who can be in whatever type of relationship you want to be in.
But go ahead, Luis. Go ahead.
You know what's so interesting? Like everybody remembers the pandemic back in 2020. I remember being with my girl and going to the supermarket and going to certain stores. And I remember everybody masked up, gloved up, like covered up, like if we were in the, Biohazard movie. I remember watching women, single women by themselves, strolling a carrier, just looking, this look of like this desperation, like this. Like it was something I have never seen in my life. Right? It was something I've never experienced, something I've never seen, that kind of look of fear in someone's face, in someone's eyes.
What?
Right? And it was interesting, but it was on public display because we're doing something most people do normally, go grocery shopping, right? But because there was a shortage and because there was a crazy line and obviously there was a lot of commotion, right? You can tell the people who were not hitched with anyone and they were operating and moving up and down the aisles with this like very with this this look of fear in their face and sort of
there were no men walking around like that.
No, I didn't recall seeing dudes.
Ah,
I seen couples. They probably been in relationships, and I've seen dudes, but I didn't see dudes looking around like with this look of desperation. I just didn't see that, but I did see a lot of women look around and have and carry that. Now, are there dudes who operate and probably are like that? Yeah, I didn't see them.
Well, as a single woman during a pandemic, let me just tell y'all, I mean, I hate everything that was going on. That is not to take away what took place. I think it was but that pandemic, baby. Oh, it was just a memory. Just put it that way.
You're scary ass.
I wasn't scared of nothing. Look, some of my most fun memories took place during the pandemic, and it was horrible. But I didn't live in New York. I didn't live in a place where those things were, it was like as bad as that. So I don't want to downplay the pandemic. I'm just saying my experience during the pandemic was some.
Oh, your city was still open. That's what you're saying.
Well,
You got your the battery in that fire alarm replaced. That's what you saying.
Really, the city was open like them men. They be walking around in that goddamn city, opening like a motherfucker.
Wait, JR, before you play that, let me say this really quick, because you ask a question in the Facebook group every week that's important. And I think it speaks a lot to, hey, you ask about, is marriage the goal? Is the goal marriage? Is marriage the goal? Is the goal marriage? And I'm pretty sure we've talked about this ad nauseum on this platform, and maybe have mentioned it today. But again, it's going to be a point that I hammer a lot, is that, people, even with getting married, people are not intentional in getting married. What are you getting married for? If the goal is not to build family and sustain community, what are you getting married for? Right? Is it for selfish reasons? You just need to be with somebody. I tend to agree with Hank. Nobody wants to be alone. I'm 50. Most of the conversations that I'm having with my guys that have been playboys and out there playing the field, now we all got seeds, right? But I'm married. They're not. They're scraping and scrambling because listen, at this stage of the game, you are now planning, you writing your will, you're figuring out your estate, how you're gonna, when you transition, who you leaving what to, how exactly you want to be handled. Nobody wants to do all that stuff by themselves, fam. Nobody. And you definitely, it was 12 degrees here. Jay, I don't know if you're still in the city, but it was 12 degrees last night, man. Don't nobody want to be in that big old bed by yourself. Well, you want to, pull something next to you, feel close in that. You can't get that all the time with girlfriends. That it's different when you in covenants, a little bit different.
Well, the reason people get married is so that they can have sex with each other and not be fornicators. Okay. So there's reasons to be married, even if you don't have kids. It's a commitment.
Heathen like me, that's not why I did it, because I was getting ass regardless. But I understand what you're saying.
You do want to be right with the Lord. You don't want to sin. Every day.
But you want family, you want covenant, right? Like that's innate, that's in you. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, I just wanted to say that because I think that's important when you ask that question, JR, and it's always interesting to see the responses, because I know we love the wedding, but nobody's prepared for the marriage. Love the wedding though. Cake was good.
And let me just say this too. JR, you are mute. I'll be quiet if you need me to.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of highlight that, because there is a question that comes up in discussions that I have. It's like, what is the purpose for a single person to get married if it's not about building family, right? If it's not about building family, they don't plan on having any kids. Like, what was the purpose of getting married? And I think we heard some of it, right? If you do believe in a higher being, then there's the covenant of that, right? If you want to stay in alignment with the Lord, then you're not out here just having sex. You're having sex in the way that it was designed to. But go ahead, Shan. And you can also, go ahead, Shan.
And let me just say this. I think you mentioned it earlier, JR, so it's kind of going back to something that you stated earlier. Let's be very clear, even with the younger generation, even though they don't know how they're moving a little different, I think most women want to, I can't speak for men, I think most women want to be married, right? I think usually what takes place is just like JR stated earlier, somebody done did something to her, so now she's like, I don't need a man because he done rocked it the wrong way. So I do believe that most young girls are taught that they want to be married, right? Now, what that looks like, how we get there is totally different than our counterpart. Our other races of women. But I think that even today, most women want to be married. Even if they're not dating with intent, that doesn't mean they don't want to be married, right? Because the reason why I say that is I think it's both men and women alike. You can go out and date people, right? And this person can be good enough to just date because you need something to do, a good companion. But you're like, do I want to marry them though? Because marrying somebody, that's a pretty big decision. That's a person you're bringing into your life. You're responsible for, who's responsible for you, and you have to be, you have to take that on. It's very serious. So people are finding, both men and women alike, men are finding women that they could be cool with. She's good for this, but I don't know if she marriage material. Same thing with women when it comes to guys. They're marriage-minded people are missing each other. People who are ready for marriage are missing each other. They're not dating each other. Does that make sense? Everybody's dating somebody who is good for right now, but not necessarily for marriage. Does that make sense?
So I'm gonna push back on what Shan said. Most women don't want to get married. Most women want the idea of marriage, because most women are selfish. Let's be honest. Most women are selfish. We heard some selfish things up there. Yeah, I hear you. I got you. Most women are selfish, and we heard that a second ago when we hear about talking about we got to read your minds. We got to cater to y'all feelings, but y'all not willing to cater back to us and do what we need to. Y'all willing to treat us like ass and expect us to always be there for you. I didn't. The selfish part is kicking in right now because I didn't say nothing while everybody else was talking, but they're so selfish.
You're
they want to get this
projecting.
shit out while I'm talking.
Nah.
Right on. So let's talk about it. Most women love the idea of that. People don't realize how much work it is to be in a marriage. It's called sacrifice, and you can't be selfish and be willing to sacrifice at the same time. That's a conflict of interest. It's not going to work. You have to sacrifice a whole lot. That means everything that you want in yourself. You may have to sacrifice certain material things that you used to get and used to be involved with, places you used to go, individuals you used to hang with. You might have to get, your friends might have to get evaluated, and you might have to sacrifice certain childhood friends because it's not good for your marriage, because they're going to bring negative energy into your relationship, and that's not what you want. You don't want to do those certain things. So, ladies, I know y'all want that, and it looks good, the big, beautiful white dress, going down the aisle with your father holding you beside you, giving you away to your husband. I understand. It's a beautiful ceremony. I understand all of that. But after the I do's is over, that said work, you need to have your lunch pail and your hard hat ready to clock in every goddamn day. And ladies, I don't think y'all want that. Because when we heard a couple Wednesdays ago, we talked about it. It was for better, for better. They wasn't willing to do for the better, for worse. Because soon as that man loses his job or he goes to a layoff at work and he's unemployed for about 2 or 3 months and he's trying to get his shit back together, I heard some lady say, I'm out. I'm putting in my paperwork 2 weeks notice and I'm gone. They're not willing to put the work in no more because they're not selfish. They selfish.
Mm. But I think that you missed the part though, Hank. I agree with what you're saying, but I would say both parties are selfish because we were just talking about men wanting to cheat, and that is a selfish. That's being very selfish because that's for himself. That's not helping her. That's helping him. So we want to make sure we look at both parts because that's what we started with. But you're absolutely correct.
Let me get a little bit top 1% of the 1%.
When you're living in your truth, being able to be 100% yourself that's the flex.
Yeah.
That's the flex. Not the flex in saying I get to do whatever the fuck I want to do. The flex is being able to say, I know I fucked up. Babe, before you hear this shit from somebody else, I'm man enough to tell you this is where I'm at mentally. And she does an unbelievable job by not judging the branch of the tree, but getting to the root of the tree. Because everything stems from something. And as I put my life in the forefront, I'm challenging all men to have that uncomfortable conversation with your partner.
Sheesh, yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of broke it down. Just had a conversation. You'd be surprised, as we spoke about earlier, what she would agree with. And it seems like they may have had a conversation despite what we may think on the outside looking in. I actually listened to a little bit of that interview, and it looks like they have a good relationship. They talk. He just don't put everything about what they discussed on the internet. I'm gonna ask you guys about that in particular. Do you guys think relationships should be private? Should it be private until marriage? Should it just stay off the internet? Do you think the internet has conditioned us to feel like we have to put our relationship on the internet? Do you think it's suspect if you're not public with it? What are you guys' thoughts about it?
Don't put that relationship on the internet. Don't put that relation for females. Men, y'all do what you want to do. For females, because once you break up, you get somebody else, they're gonna be counting your relationships.
What?
Oh, she with somebody else now. They're gonna count it 1, 2, 3. Never mind that they're like 2 or 3 years apart, but they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They count all your relationships. Don't do
I feel like people shouldn't like make their relationship public and like unless it's like solidified, at least an engagement or something. Because in my eyes, you just telling me every time you having sex with somebody, oh, okay, that's the 5th guy this year. Got it. Okay, because that's what it looks like to me. Is you posting who you having sex with? That's all I can see when I see that.
Okay.
Fellas, I just want y'all to hear this.
Single.
I just want y'all to hear this. She said it's okay to publicize it. One said, don't put it on there. We got to keep that information secret. We don't want to know about our body count. I understand. And then somebody wanted to have the question for me. She said, who hurt me?
Wait a minute. She said that in the back chat, and you just told her to not bring the back to the front. And yet,
right. So what's up? So what we doing?
No.
What we doing?
I didn't say who. I didn't say who.
It don't matter who. You said could nobody in the studio bring up what's in the back chat. And here we are talking about the back chat. So who hurt you? So who did hurt you?
Ladies,
so who hurt you?
I know y'all want Hink's attention, and I don't blame you, but only woman gets my attention.
First of all, let me clarify something because he ain't about to try to chop somebody down off a damn lumberjack tree, and it ain't about to happen, sir. So what I meant when I said don't post the relationship until it's solidified is because that beginning of the relationship is very important, getting to know somebody, and social media is extremely trivial to people having influence and being in situations where it's affecting them trying to get to know each other. Sir, why are you laughing?
That ain't why I said it. I said it because I'm tired of seeing all your little boyfriends that you posted, and I'm counting them. I'm like, girl,
yeah, that too. Because all I can get, like you're doing too much this year, okay?
Yes, show them. Guys, I said it many times. You want to get to know a woman? Shout out to 2024. Shout out to whoever invented IG because they tell all that goddamn information. You just log in. You pay attention. You take intel. They're going to tell everything because they can't hold water for shit. On a regular basis, they're going to tell their life story. You don't need to ask a body count. Look at their IG. That's going to tell them. Count every hard ankle you see attached to them and assume these heifers are fucking them. Assume these heifers are sleeping with them.
No, sometimes, and sometimes when they break up, they delete the picture, so the history's gone, sir. They delete them.
You used to hurt my pictures.
Shout out to being selfish.
What did you say, Shan?
JR, just keep on going.
Okay.
He can tell a tale on that. Just because somebody hurts your picture, that does not mean anything.
Okay. Let me get to some of these super chats right quick. Advanced Perception, $5 says celebrities play by different rules in relationships. Jasmine said herself she ain't tripping. As Michael Blackson said, broke niggas can't do this. Advanced Perception, $2 says you accept a whole lot from the person you like. Harrison Davis, 199 says folks want to be snuggled up. Harrison Davis again, 199. Hink, they are ready to be a ghost anytime. Harrison Davis, 199 says Shan, the no face, no case method. Christopher Matthews, $10 says I'm 39 and single. I wanted to get married, but it's a lot of responsibilities and establish the foundation in a household. If women do not follow the man, I will get that 20 good minutes and leave. Hashtag big brick. Big brick. $10. Questions for the ladies on the panel. If the man of your dreams appeared today, would you be ready for him now? And what do you think it would take for him to pick you over other women? If anyone of y'all want to answer that, that's fine.
You know, sorry. No, go ahead. So I think that's the issue, right? People falling in love with people who ain't loving them back or who is not picking them, right? And that's another reason why you should not post that crap on the internet. Like it was one, I'm giving you the case. It was a woman, her partner, they have kids and they keep having kids, and he ain't asked her to marry him yet. They up here TikToking together, oh, lovely couple, and yet and still he's good. Y'all great living in the same household, but he don't even want to give you his last name. That's embarrassing. So why are you posting that for the world to see? Like you're great enough for all these things, but you can't write that last name.
I would say, yeah, I've been married before, and even though I didn't stay with him. It was I feel like it was successful. We figured each other out. It was just I was young and I decided whatever. However, almost every time that I end up dating a guy, like he wants to marry me. So with that being said, yeah, I'm ready to date if somebody wants to marry me. Now, if you had to ask me this 3-4 years ago in my 30s after my divorce, when I had in my head I wasn't getting married again, I wasn't even open to a guy even considering me being his wife. It was automatically, I don't think I'm gonna get married again. You know, public relationship or civil union, whatever it was. I'm in a different place now where I want to get married again, but it still don't change the fact that I've had that experience. I have years of being in relationships for a very long time. That's the type of girl I am. I think I told y'all, me dating, it don't work. Like these guys get mad at me because in my mind, we're not married and we're dating. And if you just want to get to know me for 3-4 months, usually guys want to be with me after the first couple of weeks. So if you don't know what's going on after a month or two, I'm moving on. So I'm not really good at dating. So yeah, I'm that person that can go into a relationship and get married if that was my man of my dreams. As far as what I could do to make myself stand out from him picking, he already picked me. That's why he asked me to marry him. So
How long does it take for somebody to get married? For you guys to get married? Is it how long does it really take?
well, my ex-husband and I, we got married. We moved in together a week after knowing each other, and we got married. We got engaged 6 months later, and then we got married after knowing each other only like a total of 10 months. Like we moved extremely fast, but it was love at first sight. Like I said, to this day, like he would love to stay married to me, but it was other reasons why I had to like give myself a chance at a better love, which is why sometimes when I'm out here dating, when I see this type of stuff and men talking about, oh, she's not wifey material, and it's like, don't you fall in love with who that person is before you decide if she's wifey material? Like, it's a lot of men that fall in love with women that they don't even know if they can cook or anything. But when they start falling in love, women will learn how to nourish a relationship. And that's, but now these men are like, I don't see it up front. I'm not going to consider it. No, that's just an excuse that you don't want to be married. So.
Luis, you on mute. I don't know if you're about to say something on that.
I mean, the reality is that a lot of people want to see the upfront return on their investment. They want to see what that looks like. Unfortunately, it's just the honest truth, like that's just the culture in which we're breeding right now, and where a lot of people's mindset is that people want to see what that looks like. But I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think people are really having honest conversations with their person or their person of interest to know what that looks like, and where that relationship could be heading. I think that's really the thing about it. You know what's so interesting? Like, we have a lot of these conversations, and I don't even think that our culture or even our educational system at times kind of forces the kind of debates or conversations to allow people to talk about the things that really bother them or the things that they have the most concerned about or the most fear, right? Whether it's in friendship, whether it's in, a mock-up business kind of interaction or even in relationships. Like, people don't really get to explore what these things are and what their dynamics are until later in life, right? And I think that a lot of people are focused on trying to, be successful and make money, which is all amazing. But I don't think that emotional development of how to communicate with people that you're interested in or you're falling in love with in a way where they could reciprocate to you. So,
All right, let me go ahead and open it up a little bit more to this discussion. Here we go.
Oh, like stop the line, bro. Stop all that fuck ass bullshit ass like that bullshit, dog. Cause when you have these conversations with the fellas, and there is a meme or something that Mike Epps said in a stand-up comedy. He's like, that nigga don't act like that. Like, but for me, I act like that around my partner. She knows that. And this is not something that I act when I need other people to witness it. The thing that is the biggest flex is like, we go on dates, we go out, we do life together, and I'm able to be myself. I ask her about her, she asked me about me, and we throw it all out there. And of course, there are some things that I've said to her that hurt her feelings.
Of course.
But in return, she says some things that hurt my feelings.
Of course.
The flex is we're able to go to bed at night.
Yeah.
And we cuddle.
Yeah.
We talk.
Yes.
We wake up in the morning. I smoke my cigar. I have my espresso. She eats her croissant. She drinks her smoothie. And we're able to communicate.
Yeah.
That right there is something that's easily said, but not always implemented.
And I think the problem is because men have been groomed to lie based off of their experiences with women. And this isn't to give anybody an out, because I do have, you know.
Hey, just real quick, you guys think men were conditioned to lie? Were groomed to lie? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and let this roll. Better say something, Kelly?
I was gonna say that I think men were conditioned to lie by women. I feel like a lot of the times men lie because they're like leery of our reaction. Like a lot of times they might, lie to protect us, or they might lie because in the past we've shown them that we can't handle the truth or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of guys do like women's reactions too.
or perhaps they lie to them because they know that they like what they hear.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they lie because that is the way that men feel that they're protecting a woman's emotions. It's just don't tell her what she don't want to hear. What I don't volunteer that might hurt her, I'm not gonna say that. So I don't want her upset. I don't want to ruin her day to day. So I'm gonna lie. So that's what the narrative is for men that lie.
I'm confused with the question. Ask that again.
Are men conditioned to, are groomed to lie, or conditioned to
Lie
lie
about what though?
to women?
Just about what they're doing.
Anything.
Oh, about anything. Oh, okay.
Like, are they just conditioned to lie in general? I'm not saying that men are conditioned to be liars, but they've been conditioned that women are emotional. So they find ways to make it work, because at the end of the day, they want to be with this woman, but they know some things that if she asks or that they have to reveal, it may cause them to break up or fall out. And it's just easier not to say anything, or easier to say something else that she might want to hear.
I think people lie.
And I don't think that he may necessarily want to be with her, but I think that if there is a lie being told, there's something that he's not telling so that he can continue to get the maximum benefit, if that makes sense. Like if I tell her, that she's not the only girl, if I lie and say that she is, then if I lie and say that she is the only girl, then I'll probably get more from the situation than he would if he told the truth.
Man, look, there are guys who are pretty much a fuck it. Like they are not doing the things that they need to be doing, and they get caught off guard, and they meet the woman that presently surprised them, and they don't have their shit together, and they're going to sell the idea that they do have everything together, and they're going to lie about it. And in the background, they're going to work day and night to try to figure it out, because they don't want to lose proximity to this woman because they don't have it together. They don't have that car. They don't have that place of their own. They're going to lie, but they're going to figure it out like night and day in the background. So it is lying, but they need to also perform to get the things or put themselves in a position where it's favorable for her to still keep interest, right? You know, and I don't think it's really a gendered argument, you know, whether men lie. I think women lie too, you know. Men lie to women because they know that women love it. They love to hear a certain thing. And I think women wear makeup because they know that men fall in love with what they see. So it's a cyclical cycle.
All right, let me play a little more of this clip.
And I think the problem is because men have been groomed to lie based off of their experiences with women. And this isn't to give anybody an out, because I do have, you know, I speak a lot to the men and accountability for women, but let's call a spade a spade. The truth is, Cam, if you were honest from the beginning, and I've only ever been in monogamous relationships, right? So I don't know. But if my man were to come to me, because I've never been in a relationship for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I can't speak from an experience I've never had, but so often people try to do that. So if my man came to me and said, baby, you know what? I want to try something different. The truth is, I don't know what my answer would be. However, the level of respect that I have for that man, that we can have a conversation and be like, okay, this is what it looks like. Because a lot of women think they're in monogamous relationships, but their men just keep it hidden. And so I feel like in a huge way, and that is the point, that men and women need to communicate about the desires of their heart. And then I can powerfully choose you, or I can powerfully let you go. But so often we get into these spaces where it's like, oh no, well, my man would never, your man probably is. Yes. My girl would never, oh, your girl probably already did. Yes. You know, and so I think that it's important to have that conversation, because it's like, and this is my honest truth is, I think cheating is weak. I think cheating is weak, and I say that because you're bold enough to make this action that you're hiding around, and you're deceitful, and you got to be sneaky, but you're not bold enough to tell your partner. Now, an arrangement, like I said, if you know exactly what it is, or you know exactly what to expect, that is completely different from a deceitful act. It's not the act of a man having sex with another woman that women care about. Why is the first question that a woman asks after she's cheated on, well, do you love her? Because it's not about the physical act. We know that men don't care about most of the women that they smash anyway. It's not realistic to even say that. So I feel like women don't care about the act. They care about the feeling. They care about the deceit. They care about the lies. And if men would just take accountability and keep it a buck with how and who they are, then it would be a different ballgame. And I do think that that's a conversation that needs to happen more often. And I don't know why there's so much shame wrapped around humans being human. For sure. It is what it, in my personal opinion.
I guess he told y'all.
Let me just say this. I like this interview with Cam because he's being, you know, he's putting it all out there, and he's showing us how much he does, you know, care for his woman. And you know, he's praising her a little bit, some of the techniques that they have in their relationship. Big ups to that for, you know, she must have gave him a hard one at home. He must have gave him a hard time. Because he's coming a little different.
He's a little more humble, right? You know, a little more humble on this interview.
About his relationship, and he's put, you know, saying great things about the relationship, you know. So I commend him for that. So I think it's a beautiful thing.
I tell you one thing Cam ain't doing.
Oh, no.
He ain't blessing that couple with his goddamn last name. I tell you that. I tell you, he did all this what y'all talking about, but he ain't blessing that heifer with his last name. Now, what he's not doing that or not, I don't know why. Maybe she's just not worthy. She's not worthy for the last name. Maybe that's it. I don't know. She's not good enough, or she's just a what.
But why do y'all act like that men didn't want to get married right away?
Shout out to selfish ass Coco for not letting me finish. Maybe like Shimon says, she's just a placeholder. I don't know what it is. But go ahead, Coco.
But you just kind of contradicting, because you men act like that y'all be ready to get married right away. Like y'all never see a woman right. Like that's the whole point I was trying to say. Like you guys don't see a woman right away as you being a wife. Y'all want them to be on display. Y'all want them to audition basically. You want them to show you the full wife experience without the name before you decide to do it. So make it make sense.
Cam's not marriage minded. And as a woman, you should know this And once you figure that out, you should, if that's what you want from a man, you need not get with Cam, because Cam always said he's not looking to get married. So
he
still
did
pursue
say
this man. If you still pursue this man, then use the fool. If you pursue a man that you know is not marriage minded, but yet, ladies, that's what you want, you made a bad decision. You made a bad investment. You picking the wrong man, unless you are all of a sudden calling audible and decided, oh, well, I don't want to get married no more. Then keep pursuing that man. But if that's what you want, to be married, don't pursue a man who doesn't want to be married. Because you're not going to go in there, you're not going to, your cootie cat is not that goddamn good where you're going to change his mind and all of a sudden he's going to get married to. It's not. Because you ain't the only one with a wet cootie cat. There's some other wet cootie, like my buddy Kelly said, there's cootie cat everywhere. And he can go get it wherever he wants to. Just like you can go get some.
But they can't get mine. They can't get mine because like a woman can't get yours.
So let me.
Coco,
it's exclusive.
PBA. Coco doesn't have community pussy. There you are. Coco doesn't have commodity pussy. It's not for everybody. Shout out to you, Coco.
All right. So he did on this interview. Let me just play the audio real quick. He did answer a little bit. I'm not sure if you're gonna say in the beginning or not, but I just play a little snippet of it. Will Cam get married?
Do you see yourself marrying her?
To your point,
Yeah.
marriage
Yes.
is not the ultimate goal for me.
Yes.
I do want to get married.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
I do, but listen. So the thing about that word of, well, marry the girl, I'm not saying that to you directly.
Right.
I'm saying that to the people who see this and their response. We're so trauma bond by this thought of get married, have kids.
Yeah.
That's the way that the propaganda of life that everybody has been putting in our faces to say, okay, get married, have kids, whatever. Not or overlooking or not identifying that that's still a way for the devil to dwell in.
You know, I have to say, so marriage for me, when I think about marriage, right, we have to understand that, first of all, a marriage license, which is different from marriage, but I think a lot of people get caught onto the marriage license part, wasn't even established. It's really new. It happened in 1929, and it happened so that Black men couldn't marry white women. It was illegal. So now you can't get your marriage license. You're not really married. That's what the marriage license is rooted in. But I do believe that and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about anyone in general. This is just my opinion. If you found a person that you feel in alignment with, that a man, because I feel like men don't even feel safe to be themselves in 2024. You know, there's all of these different things trying to be like, you need to be a man. You can't be vulnerable. If you cry, I'm gonna leave you. Like, oh, so you're telling this man he can't be human is essentially what you're saying. If you're not a safe space for him, why would you choose him? But what I hear, and when I hear people that say, I have a woman that makes me feel safe, that makes me feel seen, that makes me feel heard, I understand why it'd be like, let me choose this person because I want to honor her in that way. Now, for me, when I think about marriage, there's a difference between marriage, which I think God has to be in the picture. And if it's not a God thing, I don't think marriage should even really exist because God is the barometer, right? That's the integrity point. But I also think that a marriage license, if you're not a God-fearing person, that's solely in protection of the person that you met.
For sure.
And if you have a good person, then it's almost like, do you want to know my idea of a marriage, of like the non-godly version? This is what I would say for people that are like, you meet a good person. I believe we should leave people off better than we found them. So the first 3 years, oh, wash your hands. You take what you had, I'm gonna take what I have, like we're good. 5 to 10 years in a prenuptial agreement, this is what it looks like for you. 10 to 15 years, this is what it should look like for you. 15 to 20 years, this is what it should look like for you. And 20 plus years, this is what it should look like.
All right, so that's what Cam said about marriage.
He seems like a loyal lover as it relates to when he has a person he lives with, right? Because I don't think that if I remember correctly, she left him, that first one. She left him because he didn't want to be married, right? if I'm not mistaken. So I think that he would probably have still been in that relationship. I think that just like he said, the man said he don't want to be married. So at this point, you ain't changing his mind. He'll be with you. You'll be number one in his life, but you're not going to be Miss Newton. So I think that when you go in a relationship with someone like this, and he's shown people over and over again, and he says it all the time, it has nothing to do with you. He said this before you even got in the picture. So I think he's made up his mind that marriage is just not, important for him. And I think that women need to move accordingly when they're dealing with a guy like that. You can't change his mind.
Yeah, action speaks louder than any words. I could tell you enough to keep you stringing along. Yeah, we're gonna do it one day, and I'm gonna keep telling you probably every 6 to 8 months, just to keep you happy, pat you on your head, smack you on your ass, keep you moving. But until I actually go and get the ring and make arrangements and talk to the pastor at the church, you know what I'm saying, and book the reception hall and all that. Yeah, it's just talk. Talk is cheap.
Okay. You good over there, Kelly? Sound like you want to shut down. Okay. Hank is just
Jay, that's my bad. I shouldn't have did that. I do what I did. I apologize, Kelly, for you shutting down.
What did you do? Apology accepted. All right.
Be me.
Kelly's in the twilight zone right now.
I'm gonna play a little bit more of this clip, y'all. Here we go.
Living a lie.
I rebuke that.
Not we're all, but there's people who are living a lie.
Absolutely. Look on Instagram.
Come on, bro.
Open the app.
It's all power couple goals, this, that, and the third. But it's like, bro, nigga, tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, tell her what you really doing for that other person.
Yes.
Or, sis, tell him
about your work husband.
Come on.
You gotta tell him.
Texting, because cheating comes in many different shapes, forms, and sizes.
Agreed.
And it don't always have to deal or do with the physical act of sex.
I agree.
So you said something real quick, and I have to move on. We are 40 minutes into this first sector.
Oh, wow.
But we're starting a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah.
In my situation,
Yeah.
I never went into or never had a conversation to say, like, I want to try something new. That's not what it is. Mm-hmm. We started off like, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. This is my triggers. This is what makes me weak. This is my negative. If we're looking at this in a very, let's say, tangible way, when we're on eHarmony, tell me something good about you.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And I'm also going to say, what is something bad about you? Blah, 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 blah. We have those type of conversations. Important. So it's not about me doing certain things that she's not aware of. It's when we started this journey together. We made the oath to each other, promised to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, the whole truth, so help me God. There's a thing that I feel.
Just want to highlight that point, man. When we meet people, right? If you're in the dating market, when you meet people, I think it's important to understand that you're not going to find a perfect person. And a lot of people have gone through a lot of experiences, especially if they have been active daters, and you have to be real. Like, there are going to be some uncomfortable things that you may not want to hear about that particular person. So if you're honest on the front end, then at least you give them a choice or a decision as far as whether they want to be with you. But you got to have an open mind. Like, you're not going to find Mr. Right. It's just, or you're not going to find Mrs. Right. If they are like 30 plus, there are going to be some things that you may not be too fond of. And then you have to make that decision as far as whether you want to be with them or not. I just wanted to just put that out there because everybody is just trying to find a damn Build-A-Bear. And it's just not going to happen.
That triggers me in a relationship. Don't spoon feed me information. Period. Knowing who I am, you know what the fuck I want to know.
Yeah.
If you went out with your girls, cool. How was that?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. Oh man, you know, she did this and she did that. Yeah, but you're keeping out that it was a man or men with y'all. That's what the fuck I'm asking.
Period.
Don't sit up here and leave that out.
Right.
And a lot of times women do spoon feed information, which makes them just as guilty.
But it's because of the fragility of the ego.
That fragility word just flew. What the fuck is fragility?
It's when it's fragile.
Okay.
So if something is fragile, you have to be mindful of how you deal with it,
Yeah.
especially if you're dealing with a high-earning, high-value masculine man.
But if you're trying to keep it a buck,
You can keep it a buck, but we have to do it. I'm telling you, because Cam, my experience and my now is high value, high earning masculine man. I cannot be like, baby, I was out with some dudes and we all like. I probably wouldn't say it like that. I would probably say it in a way that I know that you want to digest, but you know, it's you speaking from a man's perspective, but I'm a woman, so it's different.
okay, let me tell you.
I do want to have this conversation, ladies. Coco, Sharon, you there? This is going to be important. We need some information. We need some insight. So she said that men's egos are fragile and that you have to spoon feed them information depending on that person. So if that person is an emotional being, he's probably not going to get the total truth, or they may leave out bits and parts of information. Is this true? Is this something that it may not be you, right? It's never the people on the panel, but do you think that this happens a lot more? And we need honesty in this, because I think men have to be self-aware of their egos, and if it may be interfering from the connection and being vulnerable and open as far as with everything in relationship, but also too, and this can be alarming if there's things happening and men are just not hip to it. So what's going on? Like, what can you do there?
Well, men are more emotional than women. Know how how more emotional men really are, because sometimes for some reason men think when they meet a woman that the day they met someone, that woman possibly was not talking to nobody, she was already broken up, whatever it was, no man exists, no friend exists. So and then if you say that, then let me back up then, because then that insecurity kicks in, and it's like, what makes you think that when I met you yesterday and you telling me how fine I am, that I might not be talking to somebody else? So it's kind of like sometimes these men, y'all go into not so that y'all don't want a relationship, but y'all look at that woman as soon as y'all meet them in a way that they supposed to be completely prepared for you the second you meet them. So yeah, sometimes women do spoon feed men information when they're getting to know that person, because y'all just, even if the woman told you, I had sex last night, like in y'all mind, oh, I don't want to talk to this woman anymore because she had sex last night. But if she lied to you and you 3-4 months in, y'all fall in love and she never told you that, in your mind, either if you didn't know or she finally told you, all right, well, we had just met, so a pass. You're going to find a way to excuse it because now y'all further in. But it would be a completely different reception if it was told in the beginning. So that's how I can give an example on how I feel that women do have to spoon feed men in the beginning. So.
Well, also too, like, bear in mind, it just tells us more about where your state of mind is at that moment. Like, if you're intentionally dating, if you're talking to someone exclusively, if you're dating someone exclusively, then you shouldn't be on a date with me, because you've already bridged a certain level of comfortability and cross path a certain level of conversation where you're trying to invest in this person much more further and you're trying to court them, right? That's understandable. You shouldn't be here with me. But if it's like you're out there trying to get to know people and vet people out and really understand, like, do we align on principles, morals, values, etc., and you share with me that you just slept with someone the other night, but you didn't add the context that you've been dealing with this person, or is this person in a relationship, or someone maybe from a previous relationship, right? Then it's just different. I think it's more about where your mind state is at, right? In terms of how you're moving. Because if you're just like, yeah, I just slept with someone the other day, then I could move in a particular type of way where, like, I don't think you're trying to be courted and you're not trying to be taken serious to the point where people get to know you, or when you're trying to get to know people, as opposed to just jumping into the most, intimate and vulnerable parts of yourself with someone or anyone for that matter?
I don't, and that's the reason why I think that women spoon feed is because we're like y'all said, we're not mind readers. We don't know how it needs to be delivered in order for you not to be triggered. We don't. So because we're not, I'm just not going to disclose.
So help me understand. How do you feel that that's very helpful in trying to get to know someone?
Helpful to
What-
whom? So in a situation where we're trying to get to know somebody, everybody should be doing what's best for themselves until there's some type of commitment or somebody has invested emotionally. Until
Okay.
then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So let me ask you a question. Role play with me for a second. So what are you talking about on the first dates, or even leading up to that first date? What are those conversations like before
I
this
ask
person gets to meet you for the first time?
I ask questions that have more to do about their character than anything has to do with their personal life. And the reason why is because I've been in situations where if I was intimate with a guy, it might not have been because I was interested in this guy. It just might have been like, oh, I was going through something. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for a man who I'm dating now to understand where my head was when that happened in order for me to explain it in a way that he's not offended or triggered. So that's why it's just too much to explain sometimes. And so the questions that I would ask, I would say things like, well, my favorite question is, what's your what's that? I forgot. What's your
Your favorite
toxic
color?
trait? What'd you say?
Your favorite color? Is it something like that?
No, no,
Well,
So tell me,
no. Like what? Like I would ask a man. I would
let
ask a
me
man what
let
his
me
toxic
land this.
trait is. What his toxic trait is. I would ask a man like if I ran into your ex, what would she tell me about you? Things like that. That kind of give me data as to who the person is, as opposed to what they might have done last weekend.
So I personally like to ask, is there someone out there who thinks that they're in a relationship with you?
I love
I
that
like to
question.
ask that. And I also ask, is there someone out there who you're either emotionally attached to or invested in, or is there someone out there who's emotionally and invested in you? The
So I don't
reason
think that
why I
part. I don't
ask
think that
those,
part. I don't think that part is necessarily the dater's business, because regardless of where I stand with that person, I might like you more. And so that person might come down a couple notches once I interact with you. It's not your job to judge where you
yeah,
land
but
in
that's
my
not how
life based
women,
on
that's not
who
how
else is
most,
in my life.
in my personal experience, that's not how most women are operating. I know that sounds absolutely amazing for this conversation and on this podcast, but in my personal experience, women do not operate or move in that
It
kind of
doesn't
manner.
sound, and that's the thing, it doesn't sound amazing. It's like kind of like Bridgerton, right? It's like I have several people around and may the best man win. That's exactly how it is. It's nothing pretty about that. And if I'm hanging out with this person, I'm dating this person, I have feelings for this person. If I meet so and so tomorrow, I might have more feelings for him immediately. So it really doesn't matter what's going on with me and him. It doesn't. It matters what's going on with me and you.
Yeah, but what you're pretty much displaying and talking about is someone who's doesn't have emotional regularity. They just don't know how
No,
to regulate their
no,
emotion, who
no.
they're interested and who
I'm
they're
very
not
protective
interested
of
in.
my. No, no, no. I'm very protective of my emotions. The person who I'm interested in, I'm very emotional with. Someone who I am not confident that they will treat me with care, stone cold.
So
Okay,
Kelly, let
so
me ask you this.
Oh,
Go ahead,
hold on.
Lou.
Go ahead, Lou.
now I was just gonna ask this one last question. You can have it, Hank. What, what are your first dates like? What are your
What do you mean?
first? What in your
Like
experience?
dinner?
Okay, so dinner. All right, so it's usually in the nighttime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's something that I gauge. I find that women are much more easily willing to give their nights, which should be much more exclusive than giving their daytime. During the
I have to
day,
work.
museum, but I'm talking about the I'm talking about the rule of thumb and not the exception. So just play with me.
Most people
I
have to
find
work
that
though.
but that we're talking about typically
I
night.
understand what you're saying, Louis. I agree.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, women are much more easier to give up their nights than they do their days. Like, there's a ton of activities that you do in the day. So that when we go out at nighttime, there's a certain aura and energy, and there's also a heightened sense of sexuality that happens because of how you're dressed, how you smell, and all these other things. People are much more invested in what you look like in the package and in the sensuality versus the conversations when you're walking through either a fair or a museum, or maybe you go to an event during the day. That's why I say I find that women are much more easy willing to give up their nights, which should be more exclusive, than they do their daytime, which you see people during the day, because at nighttime there's a level of mystery and there's all these other components that you can't compare. There's a true juxtaposition that happens during the daytime dating versus nighttime dating, and we all know this and we all experience this. So that's why I
So
say that.
the things that I look for on a date has nothing to do with time of day. And I get what you're saying, but I can't control what somebody else may feel at a certain time of the day, right? And so how I move, and I really, because my therapist taught me this, she said that I can only be concerned about what I can control. So I don't even really think about what he's thinking. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is how I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, if I'm comfortable, if he's making me comfortable. I'm essentially the chooser on the first date.
Well, let me
So do you
jump
remember
in
what
real
I said
quick.
earlier talking about being selfish? My friend Kelly said, I don't care about what he thinks. I care about what I think. But
For
that's being
a stranger, absolutely.
Well, he's not a stranger, because if you're out on the date, he's no longer a stranger anymore, man.
Well, he's a stranger until we get to know each other. So if this is the first date, we haven't gotten to know each other yet.
Well, so you don't have conversation prior to going on a date?
But he's still a stranger until I know him better.
So that's what Luis is saying. You're willing on giving your nights up to a stranger, just anybody that you.
My point
So
exactly.
what happens with
It's going over
that's
our
the
head.
thing. That's his perspective. That night that women should be like me doing it at night is me going out at night. I'm much more comfortable at night. That's the time where I'm not stressed out. That's the time where I don't have to worry about things in the daytime. I don't like daytime dates. I don't like daytime dates. I like to drink. I
Let
like
me
to
just chime in real quick.
Hold on,
I
y'all.
want to say
Hold
something
on,
too. We gotta get done.
wait. We gotta have one mic. Let's let Hank finish up.
I don't understand why you can't be a solid person or a solid man in the daytime or nighttime. Like, I'm not sure what I'm making up, but it's like because men think dirty, and because I might wear something tighter at night, I'm supposed to go out in the daytime. What the fuck? Like, that don't make sense.
I just think it went over your head, and that's okay.
It didn't go over my head. I think it's so minute. It's so minute and insignificant that, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I think y'all think about the wrong thing.
Okay. All right. Let's let Coco see what she got to add in. Go ahead, Coco, and then we go to Shan.
Don't be acting like let's see what she got to add in. Okay, I'm just joking. So I want to say that I agree with Lewis and I understand Kelly, but it may have went over your head, Kelly, a little bit because, it could be if you're used to dating and you're used to getting attention from guys. And my therapist said the same thing. Only focus on what you control. I am one of those chicks that's the complete opposite because I have gotten used to meeting guys at 7, 8 o'clock at night. They want to have a drink. Next thing you know, I'm all nice and happy. He looks good. You control that and you meet in the daytime. And so I'd rather be at home in my bed at night watching TV and I've already met him in the daytime, then I can assess the day. But there are some chicks that do prefer to meet at nighttime and I feel like it's a setup. But I don't think it's the women that are not used to getting attention and then when they get it, they just hop on that opportunity. So you can control, an inappropriate situation or how much you know someone, even especially if you haven't talked with this guy enough before y'all met the first time. You probably want to meet him earlier in the daytime because a lot of times I don't even believe in having alcohol involved on the first date when you still just getting to know somebody. Because sometimes I have met a guy at the gas station and we like, you want to go up here to Bennigan's or whatever and have a drink? Sure. And we go over there. That's cool. So you might just meet somebody the first time, but if you get alcohol involved and it's late at night, you might want to be mindful of that. So I recommend women do meet more in the daytime, brunch time or whatever, Starbucks, whatever place you like to go to and talk a little bit. So that's my little input about, I agree with Lewis and I understand Kelly, but you don't have to care about what that man thinks, but you can control the narrative of that date the first time.
But I always do. Every woman should control the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Like first of all, I'm the type of person that in order for me to be intimate with somebody, I need to have an emotional connection. So it's no amount of alcohol that's gonna get me drunk enough to boom bop wham with a stranger or somebody who I'm not emotionally attached to. I don't have casual sex. So maybe that's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not even something that crosses my mind, because regardless of where I am, what time of day, there are certain things that I'm going to have to learn about you to even figure out if I want you in my space. Like sex.
So Kelly, do you consider
was next.
conversation as intimacy? You don't consider conversation as intimacy? You don't consider
Depending
that
on
a form of
the
intimacy?
level, depending on what we're talking about, for sure.
So I got to talk dirty to you before you consider that intimacy?
You say what? You gotta talk what?
I got to talk dirty to you? Dirty.
No, nobody said anything about dirty. Intimacy could be about your family. Intimacy could be about
listen to
something
what I'm
personal or
saying.
your core. Intimacy does not have to be sex.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I'm just asking. I'm just asking, Kelly. Okay, cool.
Okay.
We cool? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just
we
asking.
always good.
So I consider having a conversation with an individual intimate, right? Because we having deep conversation. Because I'm trying to learn about you, you trying to learn about me, so we sharing things. To me, that's what I would consider intimacy. Now, some people may not consider it intimacy, and that's why I was trying to see where you stand at. Do you consider conversation intimacy? So that's why I was asking. But one of the things you said about a person's person. I think you want to learn a person, but knowing their lifestyle and what they're living out, you can learn a lot, because you could figure out, well, how did you get to this point in your life? You know, that is a form of learning somebody. I know you said you don't care about somebody's lifestyle. You're not learning, or you don't consider that in learning. Oh, did I misunderstand? Well, I can't hear you, ma'am. You're on mute.
I didn't say anything like that, but it was
okay. Maybe I misunderstood you. I'm sorry. I could have misunderstood. I've been known to be wrong every once in a while.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so mine is twofold. First of all, you are a demisexual like myself, Kelly. Yay! We do not go into sex unless it's emotional connection. You can try all day long, snip down my. I'm not attracted to. It's just never. I've never met a man who I'm off the first bat like, oh, I want to sleep with you today. Never in my life. So I absolutely understand that, but I also understand. You said what, Hank?
That's bullshit.
No, that is the truth. It's a thing, you know. I don't think there's many of us like that, but it is a thing. And when she said that, I understood exactly what she was saying. And that's the reason why she feels like it's okay for her to go on these dates, because she knows herself. And I'm the exact same way. I have been told up from the flow up, and still I ain't trying to have sex with you. How about that? But let me just say this. I do have a standard. To me, my nights mean a lot to me, right? So unless I really like you, you're not getting my nights. You can get this coffee. That's why I don't mind coffee day, especially for initial date. You can get that coffee date. You can get some lunch, but you're not getting my nights unless I'm like, okay, I'll let you take me out at night, right? One, because you can't be seen with everybody. Come on now. And two, it's just that's your nights. Like I like to be in my, my bed, or I like to be watching something. It's my time to unwind. But I can also see it on the flip side, because a lot of women do errands in the daytime. Like I'm very involved. Some Saturdays I'm super involved, right? I have chapter meetings, community service here. And so your days are kind of like just capped out, and so all you have is night. A lot of women move around in the daytime, so I can see why that can be a little inconvenient, so to speak. However, I personally, and you don't have to follow this, I just feel like nights should be reserved for men that you have, like you guys have talked a little bit, you kind of know him a little bit, and then it's okay to be all cute for him, because you're like, okay, I like this one. He deserves to be, see me, because if you see me in the daytime and you like me, you're gonna really like me at night when I show up. I have that same, I've always moved that way. And I've said that before on this show. You ain't getting my nights unless I really like you. You're just not. That's how I move.
Well, I'm gonna say this too. If you're a male and you're a sniper and you mostly kind of get what you really want, I don't think the time of day really is concerned. And then I think even some men may feel like they get results even if they don't have sex. They may be able to evaluate that interaction and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get them cheeks in a couple days, or I'm gonna spank that ass later on in the week, or it's only a
And they
matter
get
of
so
time.
disappointed, Kelly.
Especially,
With us.
especially if you have options, you really not too much tripping if you get it that first time of night, because you just put in a little bit of work. And usually, even if you got a coffee date, even if it was a walk in the park, the fact that he gave you the time, that just says that he does have some interest in you. But it doesn't necessarily have to evolve to sex, especially if he can pick and choose when he wanted at any given time, or if he can just do a phone call. Something like some men just really enjoy just being around women. If it leads to sex, then it just lead to sex. But I don't think a true sniper, they're not concerned in the time of day. Like the time of day be any given moment. I mean, the time of day could be via text. You can say some slick ass shit via text and it kind of make her think. So, but I do think there are some women that are a little bit more disciplined. You have all types of people that are all types of ways. So I don't put nothing past nobody, but somebody that could be. I've seen people that said that they was disciplined, and then later on in the night, you sit there looking at them like, I don't see none of that discipline. The only thing you hearing is, oh my God.
They ready to get wild and loose.
Because you gotta
I think it is. I think it is. It's such a turnoff. Like when for so long, for so many years, you have been looked at as like an object. You know what I'm saying? And men, the first thing, regardless of how smart you are, regardless of how funny you are, regardless of your swag or your vibe or your energy, they just want to have sex. It's the most disgusting thing to me. I can't describe it.
So why do you want to put him in the situation that it garners that kind of environment?
I ain't thinking about
I'm
him.
looking at it
I
that
don't think
way.
about him. Anybody thinking about his environment? What about it's my environment? He should be lucky to be here. Anybody think about his environment? I don't give a fuck.
God damn, boy, the selfishness is showing all over, baby. Yes.
Yes, we should be selfish because the times that we weren't selfish, y'all took advantage of us. And by y'all, I mean men. So we're gonna be selfish until y'all prove that we should not be.
God
y'all are.
damn.
Y'all are selfish as fuck.
God damn.
What it sounds to me, Hank, is that she wants her pound of flesh. That's what it is. She wants her pound of flesh because somebody did her wrong. That's really what it is.
Another video is coming soon.
Because I'm saying that I'm not gonna put because I'm saying I'm not gonna give more than was earned. That's because I don't understand. Help me understand what I should do. Help me understand how I should consider every single man that finds me attractive, wants to take me on a date. I should consider each and every one of their best time of days. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
That I don't even think I don't think you're even listening, and I think you're actually operating from an emotional standpoint, because I'm not talking about every single man, and I'm not talking about every man that you should give attention to. I'm talking about the specific men that you like and that you find and hold into a certain level of regard that you are willing to entertain in further conversation. I'm not talking about every single man in their schedule. That's not even what we're talking about. I don't understand why we love this show. I don't know why we love. I don't know why we love to throw and cast this large net of people like it's all lives matter. That's not what this is.
Oh my God, it's such a double standard here, because it's the minute Hank says some shit. My bad. The minute Hank says something about like women are so selfish, it's blanket statement. You know what I'm saying? It is no uproar. But the minute that I say that women should not be considering men's thoughts or feelings that early on in an interaction, it's a problem. So help me understand how much consideration I should be giving a man on the first date. I should be considering.
I said most women are selfish. That's what I said. And man, you're proving what I say is right.
So let me
I don't care about what men think. That's right. Ain't that what you said, ma'am?
I said that I'm not going to prioritize that. Absolutely not. Why should I prioritize what a man thinks about the time of day?
So what he said was right. I said most women are selfish. I didn't say all women. I said most.
Does that mean that most men are not? Because he's saying that I should consider his thoughts on the date
When
that
when I was saying it, I was talking about in marriage. In marriage, most women are selfish. That's what I was talking about. In marriage.
you just said you proved that I was selfish, but I'm not married to anybody. He's talking about a first date.
You're selfish before the marriage. That's all.
No.
I think that what he's saying is, because I understand what you're, I do get what you're saying, Kelly. But when you say like I don't care, so I'm going on a date. This guy invited me on a date, right? So that's a very selfless thing to do, to invite you on a date, because obviously I hope he, more than likely he's going to pay for it. So the least I can do is care a little bit about his thoughts, So when you go in and you say I just don't care, it gives off a selfish vibe that you just don't care. Like, okay, it's an entitlement kind of vibe, because you're gonna care just to a little extent. You want, even the person you date, you want to care, just even if you don't know them, just human care. I care, like I don't want to put him in an uncomfortable situation.
Why are you trying to make her care? What she said was what she said.
I believe
Kelly. You believe in what they say at first. Don't try to fix it up and make her better. This is Kelly.
Make me better.
Say what you say.
I was trying to make her understand.
Kelly, tell your truth, sister.
I understand what everybody's saying, right? And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for a single woman who is being intentional about who she spends her time with, right? I don't think it should be a priority for me to consider the time of day based on the fact that he might get horny because of how I'm dressed. That's basically what he said. He said that I should consider the time of day because I don't want to trigger the man to be too hypersexual. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense. That's like blaming the rapist, person who was raped. It's like, what do you? Does anybody see what I'm saying?
I don't, because you're going way too far off the reservation.
No, you're not listening.
The whole point was, you said, I get what she's saying. So the whole point is saying, what she's saying is she doesn't care about his feelings. What she's saying is, I don't care that you have these sexual thoughts. Your thoughts are up to you, because you're the one who has the inappropriate thoughts. I'm just going on a date with you. You coming in thinking that it's going to be about sex is on you, because a lot of men don't think that. They literally are legit men, good stand-up guys who come on a date and who want to get to know, I don't think that every man is a creep, right? Now,
I think that every man, their first thing is they want to have sex. Is that wrong?
Right. So even if a man does want to have sex, let's put it this way. Even if a man does want to have sex, like there are gentlemen in the world, right? Where he's not going to pressure you. He's like, this is a girl I want to get to know. I don't mind, maybe he's only available at night. You go on a date with them and he's not going to push you to that place, because he's a gentleman. Even if sex is on his mind and he's a sexual, because he's a man, he's not going to even put you in a position where you feel like he's going to do something inappropriate. He's inappropriately thinking about you. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that in her mind, she's saying, I can't control the way you think. She's like, you can't control the fact that she got a fairy tale in her mind that y'all finna get married tomorrow. You can't control people's thoughts, right? And I think that's the part that she's saying that she can't control, not the person himself. Is that correct?
Yes. Thank you.
I was trying to get it. Because men will have sexual thoughts even at lunch, honey.
Period. Right.
Baby. He'll tell you.
I'm gonna be fine all throughout the day. I'm gonna be fine at breakfast. I'm gonna be fine at lunch.
You show up right at that coffee day with them little joggers, baby.
I know that's right. Hey, Shimon, I'm glad you know how to speak selfish. I'm glad you know how to speak selfish.
Be quiet.
Let's talk about how selfish the men are. Let's compare. Let's do a Venn diagram as to how selfish the men are.
It's serious.
Go ahead, Kelly. Speak your truth, sister.
No, I would love for you guys to, just start off with how selfish men could be, and like the accountability that men can take, like anything. Anything that men could do better? Nothing. Figured.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do better.
Like
be more selfish, because they don't give a damn about
get
us.
me out of here. So y'all aren't selfish at all, okay?
No, but
Girl,
look,
they know
when
they
it comes to,
selfish. I think people are
let me
selfish.
say
Everybody,
this.
even when you get
Okay.
married, you getting married by what somebody can do for you. Men do it to women. That's why they care about if you can cook, because guess what? You won't be cooking for them. They care about how you clean, because guess what? You're gonna be cleaning for them. Lewis told you earlier, people want to see what your value is up front, because everybody is selfish in some way. That's men and women alike. So we're not gonna sit here and play like people are, especially nowadays. People are not selfish individuals. So he knows that. He gonna play with you all day long, girl, if you let him.
So you see how selfless I'm being right now by I was talking and Shan Monet just want to jump in there and say what she and you know I done butt in there and she's still doing it. She can't help herself. But at any time, no time did I say, shut up, Shan Monet, I'm talking. I didn't do that. I stand down, I allow her to get her thoughts out and let her say what she needed to say. Now, one time I tried to cut off because I'm a selfless man. I'm all for the peoples. But her selfish ass kept talking. Even when even after I let her get it off, she still want to interrupt me now because she's so damn selfish. She want to cut me off. And I'm allowing her to do that. Go ahead, Shimon.
No, you know I love you, Hank. When you get on your little, you can push me. It's almost it's got dark fast. You're trying to push me on this great Sunday, but you cannot. I brought my yellow today. You cannot bring down the sunshine, my dear. You cannot do it. I'm just here to help this young lady because she doesn't know the Hink way. She didn't even know about the back chat. Bless her little heart. But I'm just here to be the referee. You're not gonna hit below the belt. She didn't know. Her words were not coming out the way that she really thought. So I had to help her out a little bit. She's not a bad person.
They were coming out how I thought, but you just said it a lot more elegantly.
But they were coming out, but you know what? That's true. That's true. You're right. She's right.
What it was is that
You're
they
right.
intentionally tried not to understand what I was saying.
Just sit there and say it. They came out the way I wanted them to come out. So she admit she's okay with being the way she is. Kelly, I want you to speak your truth, sister. Be who
when you say
are.
being the way that I am, do you mean that sometimes I can't articulate things as clearly?
No, you
did. We said the same thing. I'm confused.
No, I think the difference is
I understand what you're saying, Kelly. Shimon don't understand you. I understand you, Kelly. I know you want to be great as you are, and that's as selfish as you want to be. Be you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Right on.
But Lewis is right. Yeah, I wouldn't give it my nights.
Stand down, Shimon.
Thank you.
All right, hold on. Let me get to these super chats. I'm gonna play a little bit of this clip. Harrison Davis, 199. Did she say Hink had a cootie cat? And Hink, what's a cootie cat? So,
y'all know what a cootie cat is. Don't do that.
All right, hit the like button off and subscribe to the channel. Let me go ahead and get a little bit to more of this clip. Here we go.
A woman's power is to protect her body.
Yes.
In this day and age, a man's power is to protect his pockets.
Yes.
Understand that. So I say that because there's a situation that happened.
Yeah.
Right? Where she says, babe, I was on a girls' trip. We went on the yacht.
Yeah.
And everybody around, some of us had partners, some of us was married, some of us had boyfriends, and some of us didn't.
Yeah.
And there were men involved.
Okay.
And flat out, whether it was her who said it or somebody who said it, my nigga ain't going for this. So y'all either gonna have to leave or I'm gonna leave. Because my situation, we tell each other everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want nobody to take a picture. I don't want to be on somebody's story, and I'm gonna have to explain.
Yeah, period.
So one of the two is going to have to happen. If they're supplying the good time, it's nothing for the man to supply the same thing. Meaning, if they're paying for that yacht, if you're dealing with a high value, high functioning man, how much does the yacht cost? Here, that's how much it is. Eliminate that gray area, because if I find out and you don't tell me, then that's where the trouble lies.
I agree.
So for me, if that's our relationship where we throw everything out there, it's not about, in the words of Charleston White, when you're speaking the truth, you cannot care how it comes off.
Oh, you on mute, Kelly.
Hello. When you're speaking the truth, you cannot be concerned with how it comes off.
Mm.
I guess they say I'm only responsible for what I say. You're responsible for how you receive it.
Okay.
But isn't that person's truth? I mean, everybody has their own perceived version of what is true. I mean, they can state what they're feeling, what their beliefs are, but to impress upon that what I'm stating is the truth in the in the letter of the law, like
But
it
isn't that
becomes
what
a,
everybody does when they give their opinion? Isn't that the purpose of an opinion?
but that's not a truth. That's an opinion. I gave my opinion on something, and someone else shared their opinion that might differ from mine. That doesn't mean that mine's is the truth. That just means that I am
It's semantics
with
at this
my
point because I'm
yeah.
just quoting
Well,
what she
and
said.
no, you're right. It pretty much is semantic at that point because look, everybody has their own version of what the truth is, or it's just more of a catch-all phrase at this point.
All right. Sam, you there? Coco? You guys think about that?
I got a very important phone call in the middle of it. I heard him saying though, girls need to be. The part I heard was girls need to be, or their job is to protect their cuda cat, as H, I think whoever that super chat came from said, and for for men, their job is to protect their pockets. That's all I heard. What else came after that? I'm sorry.
Never mind. I'll just get in contact with HR. Go ahead, Miss Coco.
We're gonna have to go back and edit the show.
Well, it's true. Like we know what girls' trips are and what happened on girls' trips. And I mean, I had to cut this girl off one time because she was a really cool chick. Um, but every time she invited me out or she invited me over, it was a whole bunch of dudes around. And I'm like, why the hell this girl always got a whole lot of dudes around? And she always invite me around. You know, my friend like you, my friend want to holler at you. Like I probably in like the first couple of months of knowing her, she probably tried to get my number to like 4 or 5 different guys that she knew. And eventually I just said, look, girl, you look, like I don't need my phone blowing up. Stop giving my number out. I don't need to holler at every guy every time you want to hang out. I don't know where you from and what's going on. I said, but I'm not that type of chick. I don't hang around a whole lot of guys. That's what you do. Okay. So please don't invite me to anything if it is not at least one, two, three other women and maybe zero men around. Like I had to flat out tell her that. And then next thing you know, she wanted to fight me. But it was just like, it is chicks like that. And you do have to pump the brakes and be like, no, because if you okay with that, you're putting yourself in a predicament. Like I'm saying, I got a boyfriend. You know I got a boyfriend. So why you keep on inviting me around these guys? So yeah, I mean that's just the reality of it. But that's just a real chick that understand again that can smell bullshit from a mile away. You know, I've had experience with women and men, so you know I can control my environment and I can control how things are gonna go. I am not no hoe. Stop inviting me to these events. Stop telling me I got a number to give because I'm not calling them. I don't need my phone ringing with 10 different guys. Thanks.
You said that this happens on girls' trips.
Well, I was agreeing what they were saying about when you go on girls trips. Yeah, it's gonna be some chicks there in relationships, and it's gonna be some chicks there not in relationships, and it's going to be guys around. You know, whether it's a clique of girls walking around the beach with swimsuits on, it's gonna attract some guys that single out there to come around. You're inviting that attention around when it's a whole lot of girls. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes chicks invite certain chicks around because they look good and get attention. And you know, and that's why they invite them around. You know, and even though she in a relationship, she the type of chick that guys come around all the time. So you just have to be mindful of all of that stuff. But yeah, on girls for the most part on girls trips, it's about having fun with the girls when you're young. You know, these older raising the hex hell ones is a little bit different. But I'm just talking about girls' trips in general. I don't think you should be going on them when you're in a relationship. I don't think you should be going on them when you're married because that's just what it is. And if you're going on trips, you get married, you go on trips with married couples or other couples that have relationships where y'all environment and y'all thought process about being on vacation is about with this significant other and other relationships you can see the dynamic and not going on vacation so you can spend all this money and be like girls going wild and you can just say that you had a blast. Like, that's just how it is.
So you're saying you're saying that if you're in a committed relationship, like a woman shouldn't go on girls trips unless it's with her man and a married couple or other women who are married.
Well, honestly, when I'm in a relationship, I'd rather be on vacation with my dude. I want to have sex. So
But you can't.
why am I going to spend money?
What if it's what if it's your homegirl's birthday party?
Well, I will go to it, but I'm not. It's not about to be a girl's trip. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, my girl ain't gonna have a birth. All of my friends are in relationships are married anyway, so I don't need to assume that scenario because I've been in those scenarios when I was in my 20s. And yes, it is opportunities where, I was in a relationship. I was engaged. I know my husband was jealous. I know he was controlling. I mean, I knew the second when I went to her bachelorette party at the Funky Buddha Lounge, and he pulled up and walked in there and made me leave because I was a clique of girls. I knew then he's not gonna let me go out on no damn girls trip anyway. And then if I'm gonna be on it, I'm gonna be wanting to talk to him the whole time. So it's like it's a mind process.
I just feel like if they want you to go on a girls trip, then what's the difference in him thinking you could do the same thing on the weekend? That in like the suburbs, like that, like how I carry myself is gonna be the same whether I'm in Chicago, whether I'm in Aruba, whether I'm wherever I'm at. This is who I am. So if he has an issue with you not going on girls trips, then that would be a red flag for me.
So wouldn't it be a red flag for a woman that can't wait to go on a girl's trip, like away from her dude? Like, again, it's a thought process. If you're used to being single and you're used to running out in the streets with your girls and everything, yeah, it don't matter where you. Right, it don't matter if you went on a trip in your state, in the States, on a boat. It don't matter where you go. You're gonna act the same way. You act accordingly. But when you have been in a relationship and when you have been married, you thinking about like, okay, like I mean, we can hang out and stuff, but I mean, on my vacation, when I'm in a relationship, I want to have sex and I want to be on vacation, and I'm not gonna have no sex if I'm with a whole bunch of chicks and random ass guys. So I'm not gonna spend my money on that. I would spend my money with me and my girl to go my dude to go somewhere, and I'll hang out with y'all at the bars and y'all come back in town or whatever. But going away where there's an Airbnb involved, alcohol, single women and men, that is not a combination of a woman that wants to be in a committed relationship. You're putting your relationship at risk.
You gotta have more self control than that. You gotta have more self control than that because that's ridiculous. Like, cause I could be at a bar wherever I'm at. I could be in a room full of dudes, and I am still my man's wife. Like, ain't nobody coming close to me. I'm still gonna carry myself in that way. Like, it doesn't matter where I'm at or who I'm with. If my man doesn't think that, then he got some trust issues.
Yeah, but Kelly, this is the thing about it. You're operating, first and foremost, shout out to you. Good for you. You are the exception and really not the rule. A lot of people, unfortunately, do not have self-control and do not have self-impulse control. Like liquor gets involved, weed gets involved, drugs get involved, music is involved, a good time, etc. Let's not act that people sometimes revert to the lowest common denominator of themselves. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about that you will or that you won't. It's all about putting yourself in proximity to things that influence, said people when certain activities are happening.
So men don't go on men's trips if they're in a relationship? I'm sorry. Do men go on men's trips when they're in a relationship, or is that not okay either?
Like, I love how she just completely just flipped it on the other end.
I'm asking a question so I can get clarity. What's the answer? Do men go on men's trips or no?
She's being herself.
Yeah.
Let her be herself.
Oh, you said yes. Yeah. So men can go in proximity of where there's temptation and things like that, but women can't? Is that what we're saying?
That's not even what I'm saying, and that's not what we're talking about. But I love how you're trying to angle it.
I just want answers to the questions that I asked.
Yeah, but I also want responses to what I got to say too. And clearly, you're a little bit frustrated because I stumped you, And clearly, what Coco just
No,
finished saying, you had her. She gave you pushback. You gave her pushback because of her stance. We're talking about.
It just sounds
We're
like a
talking
double
about
standard.
the environment. We're talking about the environment that is set up that at times leads people to participate in certain things that influence their
I know
better
what we're
judgment.
talking about. And what you're saying is a man can handle it, but a woman can't. Is that what you're saying? Yes or no?
Either party can fall for
Yes or
that same
no?
thing.
Yes or
Either party
no?
can. Either
Yes or
party can
no?
fall for that. Either party can
Yes or
fall for
no?
that.
Yes or no? But what I'm
I
saying
just
is it
answered
okay
your
for a man
question.
to go on? Is it
If you
okay for a man to
if
go
you
on
got
a
that
man's
base out of
trip?
your mouth, if you got that base out
Nah,
of your mouth,
nah.
you
I'm
would
gonna
have
keep my base
understood
because
that. Yeah,
because
exactly. But keep
you
that.
seem to be the type
Listen,
that
I
like to
said
tell your
either
woman what to
party.
do, and
Either
that's not
party
what's
could
happening
fall
here.
for that. Either
Okay,
party could fall for
Answer the
that. I'm
question.
talking
Answer the
about the
question. You don't
environment that
understand.
is set up for that
I understand what you're
environment
talking about.
to
And when my
happen.
question is, my follow-up question is, are you saying that environments like that, men are able to sustain their commitment and women can't? Is that what you're saying?
But
That's
you're
all I'm asking.
operating under the assumption that
I'm
that girl
asking a
strip.
question. There is no assumption. It's a
Hold on.
question.
You're not even listening. You're operating under the assumption that those women who are on that girls trip, that those men are out there, that they're not in the same predicament.
Do
Hello?
you understand the question?
How do you come to that conclusion that the men
But
who are
I don't
there
have a conclusion. It's a
fall out of the
question. It's a
sky? They're in
question
the
that's
same
leading me to a
predicament.
conclusion.
They're also
You're
in the
not answering the
same
question, so we
predicament as
talk
those
about
women.
it.
They're participating in the same exact act.
We already got that answer. So my question to you is about the man versus the woman being in a toxic situation like that. It's a yes or no question. Do you think that men are more capable of handling that than women? That's it. Yes or no?
I think some men can't, and some men are more capable of handling themselves.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
All right, go ahead,
So
Shan.
can I speak?
Hold
Yeah,
on. Shan
go ahead.
had a hand. Wait, right, let's go.
So I would have to agree with Kelly. I'm sorry. I have been on girls trips in my past, in my 20s and my 30s, and I'm the same chick as I am today. Everybody don't have access to me. That's just you, your friends, honey. Like I've never been that chick who went by a man and said you can get this. I don't care how drunk I've been. Never in life have I been that person.
And they know who to try it with too.
My friends too are married. You know, they have, I don't always go to these trips, but we do have a yearly girls trip that's going on, and they are good to their husbands. They do not want to cheat on their husbands because they're just not those type of women. We're not raised to be those types of women where you just, everybody can get your vagina. Like, you know, and I know you said it's not you. Everybody knows one person. You're saying there's one person in your clique who, you know, who moves that way. I'm sure I can think of probably one person. I don't know because it's not really my clique. There's always people out there, but I felt the importance to say that because I think that people tend to think that all women move that way, and that is not the truth. There are certain women who move that way, and there are certain women who don't move that way. No matter where you put them, you're just not going to have access to her in that type of way. You're just not. I don't care if you breathe on her, you throw her some dollars, whatever you do, she just does not move that way. And I think it's
but Shan, like I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, and it still goes back to this whole conversation we were talking about as far as controlling that environment. I think it has to do with street smarts to me. You know, street smarts and experience. When you're a woman and you a chick that like I've been used to getting attention since I was a girl because I'm a identical twin sister. So I've always gotten used to getting attention. I know how men are. Men sit back and wait for you to get drunk. They know you in a relationship. You already done turned them down. First of all, I'm a type of chick when I'm in a relationship, I really get annoyed when a dude touch me. Don't touch me. You know what I'm saying? And they'll do that. But what am I getting mad for? I decided to go on this yacht with a whole bunch of, saying dudes drinking. So why am I being mad that this is happening? I know that happens when I go out. When I go out in a relationship or not, I attract men. You know what I'm saying? So
that
you
is
guys gotta.
So I get what you're saying. I too attract men, but no man is going to put his hands on me. You can be friendly and not be accessible. You understand? A person can come over, buy you a drink, come have this little small talk to you, and you can keep it cordial. And as he continues to talk, he knows who he can move that with and who he can't. You understand? I'm not saying men are not going to talk to you. Absolutely, they're men. They're going to try to shoot their shot, of course. But you going home with them and sleeping with them is your choice. It's not his. It's your choice. that's when you have to say, hey, no, I've never had a guy who put me in a situation where I felt uncomfortable. I would not allow myself to be in that position. Most men are, if you talk to them, they may buy you a drink and they'll try you like, hey, can I get your phone number? Blah, 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 blah. But who invite you over at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? Not us. So it comes down to you, not you, but I'm saying the person who's in that situation. That's you. You can.
Yeah, I feel like it's experience. I feel like, and it doesn't have to be that you had an experience with that with a guy. I'll tell you, in my 20s, fresh out of college, I have a brand new company corporate position, and I go to a retirement party, and this is my first time drinking Moet and Chandon, and I'm drinking these bottles like they are soda. I'm drinking them, taking shots, drinking them. I'm young. I'm 23 years old, and all I remember is partying. The retirement party started at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. All I remember is waking up in the sheriff's office, right next to his desk, in my suit, because he knew who I was. He knew I was a food and beverage manager at the Marriott, and he came there to eat breakfast all the time and get coffee. And he heard over the thing that it's a lady, her badge still on there. She worked at the Marriott. Her name's Chanel Kidd. He heard my name over the intercom while he was at work and told him to take me to his office. And I laid in his office. I woke up at 5 a.m. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. I woke up and the people looked out for me and made sure I got somewhere, but the alcohol was involved. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that when I woke up and because I drank too much or whatever, and I end up waking up at some dude's crib, like, well, you decided to do it. I'm just talking about putting yourself in predicaments like that where that can happen. So if you're going somewhere drinking with people, you need to be mindful. Of course, if I did go on something like that, I ain't drinking. If that's the case, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I won't do that because my dude don't want it. I'ma still know what my situation is. If I'm gonna be in that situation, I'm not drinking because I know I can wake up and be somewhere else if it's possible because I don't trust guys. Guys will sit back and watch a chick get drunk all night and then walk up at the end of the night. And next thing you know, you in the car with them having a great time. And next thing you know, you woke up like, what the hell? So I know people that have been through that in my 20s. It's just the reality of it. So being mindful when you're in a relationship, you're respecting your relationship. Like, I'm not about to do that because if something goes down, whatever it may be, whether it be somebody that's trying to holler at me, some guy that touched me, then I snapped on them because I do have an attitude and sometimes guys get mad at that. Anything can happen. So when you're in a relationship and a mindset, you don't even want to be around that shit. You just be like, I ain't going. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Me and my dude gonna probably go somewhere. So yeah, you're right. You have a choice to put yourself in those predicaments as well.
And I would say that sounds more like an alcohol issue than a trip issue, right? So, you just got to know, because I like to get drunk to the point where I call drunk being tipsy. When you know what's going on, but you just feel a little good. You know what I'm saying? You don't ever want to get to the point where I've never blacked out from alcohol. So that
when you first out of college and you never had champagne, you used to drinking Mad Dog 2020 and you used to drinking Alizé, and then you drinking something for your first time. You don't even know, had no clue that champagne can do that to me because I never had champagne up until that time. You see what I'm saying?
That ain't got nothing to do with the girl trip. That ain't got nothing to do with the environment, though.
I was using an example that if you a chick that put yourself in that predicament on a girl's trip, that's what I was trying to do. Thought you guys could catch on to that analogy, but I was just saying you don't have to be the same chick. You don't have to be in that. You don't have to be in that predicament with a guy to understand how you can be put in a predicament and not realize it until after it's already happened. Make it make sense. We smart here, so you know what I was saying when I said it. So we are talking about the girl's trip. We are still talking about a choice that a woman makes when she's in a relationship or not in a relationship, whether she with some chicks that she know is hoes or not some chicks that know is hoes. I feel like, because of my experience, that if you've been in a relationship, you know how to respect that, and you wouldn't be that excited to go on a girl's trip. Most of your chicks roll like the same way. Most of mine are married, so we ain't even trying to figure out a trip without our men. We trying to figure out a trip with our men. So I'm just saying.
What about your friends from college who don't even live here?
Don't live in the country? Because all my friends is across this country. I barely have any friends here in Arizona where I'm at.
Right. So when do you go see them with your man?
We get to go all the time for the holiday. No, I never said that I had to go anywhere with my man. We're talking about a girl's trip. Me visiting my girl coming to visit me, whatever that is, it's the holidays, that's different. A girl's trip is considered you being away, spending the night somewhere else with nobody else but your girls. It ain't the same as going and spending life in someone else's crib when you got a man. A lot of times, women in relationships do not want to sleep in and wake up the next day with a chick in the bed, unless that's how you get down,
No, I mean you don't
or
have
in
to.
the same house.
No, 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 no. I think that we just think of things differently. That's all. And
Yeah, we just think of it differently.
because when if I
Because it ain't had nothing to do with no alcoholism. Don't even try to deflect that. It ain't got nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, seeing on this one, I just think you're a little bit naive on what it's like to be out there.
I've been
But
out
you're
here,
not
I just got ahead
understanding.
of
You're not.
myself.
No, you don't, boo, because you really think that the sun is
Oh,
always rising, and you can go on a trip with some
I
girls
was gonna
and
have
still be in a
cookies right now.
relationship and think that your man gonna be happy, okay with that, even if he said it's okay. Why would you want your man to feel like said, gotta worry about you or not worry about you on a girl's trip? If that's how you feel and he cool with that, great. But if you know men and if you know a relationship, then you know you're not trying to get away from your man that much around a whole lot of other shit that ain't got nothing to do with the way you live your life right now. If you live your life in a
That's
relationship,
true,
you're gonna
Coco.
live it in a relationship.
I think that too. So my guy, I don't take that many trips, but my guy would be okay because he knows who I am as a person, right? I don't think that he has that issue because he knows I move like that every single day. It's not a trip is not going to change who I am. Most of the time, these people move like this, just like Kelly said. It ain't that girl's trip. She probably move like that on the weekend. She probably moves like that when she go to home. People with homecoming or whatever she go. It's places that she don't need a girl's trip. She moves. That's how she moves, right? So and I get it. People like, oh, I'm far away. People, I'll do things that I normally wouldn't do. That just ain't one of them. Not for me, at least. I just don't. That's just not how I move. I just, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, Coco, because I do know that's the truth. There are women who that's their reality. I'm just saying, for me, my friends, that's not.
There's a
But
reason why when we
you keep talking about personality. This is not about personality. It's about being smart, being street smart, respecting your relationship, respecting
Let him
who you
go.
are.
Let
You
him
know
go.
how
Let
you're
him
gonna
go.
move. What?
That's not street smarts.
No, I was
That's
saying,
it has nothing
Coco,
to
I
do with
want
street
y'all to
smarts.
get all y'all too fast. I want her all
Because
the truth.
I'm
That's
confused
what I
because
wanted.
the only the only
Tell it,
man
girl. Go ahead,
the
Kelly.
only
Tell the
man
truth.
who would feel a way about that girl going on a girl's trip is a man who feels a way about that girl. Period. He think you lose? Does he think you easy to get with? Does he? Because a man who is with me is going to know that it's not happening. Like you got to move. You have to carry yourself the same way everywhere. And if you do that, then you're gonna surround yourself with people who carry themselves like you, and you're not gonna be put in a situation where you gotta get touched up on or whatever. You can't drink if you're on a yacht because he paid for it.
Girl bad. You know what I was talking about. Girl bad, stop.
Nah, and what I'm
Y'all
saying
want to
is
sit up there and
that
act
sounds
like,
like some weird
oh,
shit.
don't put yourself in that
That's some weird.
predicament. You know what? I'll just call devil's advocate, devil's advocate. Maybe we don't look the same, so the attention we get, whether we married, wearing a ring, being cordial, being demure, it does
Yeah, we don't
not
look.
matter. It does not
Yeah,
matter. There's
because
men
they're
out
calibers,
there
and men know
when
how
there's
to
alcohol
react to
around.
women
Exactly.
differently.
And if you look like a wolf monkey that like bark at them, they not gonna come to you. But if you being very demure, sweet, minding your business, it attracts men to
Or
come to you. Not
or
what you look
like a
like
hoe.
or
You move like a
anything.
hoe. Don't start
Exactly,
being stupid.
exactly. Most of the
You
Wolfmans
don't
do
pull up,
too.
put something in your
Most of
drink,
the
and be like,
Wolfmans
"Girl,
do too. Most of the Wolfmans do too, honey. So at the end of the day, personality and how you carry yourself, you go on a girls trip one day and go on a boat one day and maybe be very
yeah,
attractive or
and do
maybe
it
a
on
man
your terms."
interested in you. And then you see what it's like when you actually had that situation, that experience happen, and you see if you actually tell your boyfriend you're gonna go. And if he says, okay, great. I didn't say that's an
He
issue. All
he
I'm
sends me
saying
money.
is chicks that be like, oh, I gotta get away. I'm about to go on this girls trip. It is what it is. I know what happened on girls trips. And chicks that's in relationships and married don't want to go on girls trip. I just feel like, okay, well, we know what happens there. That's what you want to do. Maybe you want to get away
What
from your
happens?
husband
What
and go back
happens
and
on
do it.
girls' trips? What happens?
All kind of things happen on girls' trips. Fun, drinking, sex, curls, clubs, eating, whatever you want to. Dancing? What do you mean? What happens on girls' trip? You know
But
it,
you
right?
ain't
You
got
do know
you
it,
don't
right?
gotta cheat. But you ain't gotta cheat on your man.
Who said there was cheating involved?
That's the only reason why he wouldn't want you to go, right? If you were acting inappropriate.
No. He might not want me to be around chicks that do whole shit. You know what I'm saying? He might not want me to be around.
So
He
he
don't
doesn't.
want
So
me.
he doesn't trust.
Don't
He doesn't
nobody want
trust
to
your
be in that
judgment.
environment. He
So he
could.
doesn't trust your. He doesn't trust your judgment.
If I went to my dude, which I wouldn't, but yes, for your answer your question, if I went to my dude and I said I'm gonna go on a girl's trip and he told me that he was okay or he said he didn't like it, I'm not about to argue. What am I arguing with him about it for? For what? Like
Right,
what the fuck? I'm gonna
right,
argue with
exactly.
him for going on a girl's trip?
Because my
I'm
flight
gonna
is
argue
booked.
with
What
my
I'm
man.
arguing
I'm
for?
gonna argue with my man for a girl's trip. Come on, make it make sense.
Let's be very clear. I agree that if your man does not want you to go to a girls trip for whatever reason, you should definitely, adhere to that. You guys should have that conversation. You should not do anything that your man does not want you to do. Correct. I agree with that. I think that my disagreement comes with the narrative that every time you're going to go on a girls trip, there's this crazy thing happening. And I don't think that is true at all. And I think that there's this narrative out there that every girls trip is going on, people out here hoeing. Not true, right? But the part that I do agree with you is if it's an uncomfortable situation for your partner, if your partner is very adamant that you should not go on this trip, there should be no argument. You should not go on the trip. So I just want to be
that's all I'm saying.
with that part. That's not the part I'm disagreeing with. If the girls trip makes your partner, feel some type of way, don't go on a girls trip. It's not that serious.
There's a reason why when women go on a girls' trip down to Miami, they end up breaking up their friendship. They end up all going together and then leaving on separate flights, fighting an argument. Like there's tons of like conversations and documentation of this, but nobody ends their relationship or their friendship when everybody goes to Jamaica. It's only when they go down to Miami they end their friendship. Everybody gets what they want.
Where are you getting your data? Because it just seems like you're making stuff up from personal experience.
I've been to Jamaica, so I don't know.
I've been everywhere. I ain't never lost no friend off no trip.
Man,
like what?
You'd be surprised. These chicks, man, they've ended.
Give me some data. Give me some.
I've been to both. I've been to Jamaica and I've been to Miami. I've had conversations with friends. I've had conversations with female friends.
Go to Margaritaville. I've been to Jamaica 4 times. Go to Margaritaville at night.
Ladies, look how selfish y'all are. Ladies, look how selfish y'all are. My man Lou and myself and JR was quiet when y'all was talking, but as soon as this brother get an opportunity to speak his piece and to say what he needs to say, y'all jump in on that man. Y'all give that man hell. Well, where's your data? Where's your data? Come on, ladies.
We said what we said.
Don't be so damn selfish. Allow that man to speak.
It's a feminine trait.
Luke, speak your truth. Because I mean, ladies, we let y'all go back and forth and tell on yourselves. We didn't say a goddamn thing. We just let y'all do what y'all do. We didn't do but sit back and collect data and information. But now that my man Lou wanted to say something, y'all just gonna shut him down. Fuck your feelings, Lou. I want to say what I want to say. Where your dad?
He's making stuff up, like just like you. We not about to sit up here and let no fallacies
even
go
if he
through.
is, allow him
like
to
Trump.
finish, though, ma'am. Kelly, even if he is making everything up, allow him to finish and then rebut after he's done. Can you do that, sister? Right on. Go ahead.
I'm
Lou.
sorry. This is my first podcast, so I'm sorry. I don't know all the etiquette and stuff like this. It's really fun. I'm really passionate, and I'm sorry if I'm come off a little aggressive.
I love it. I can see how passionate it is. I see it's on your heart, but allow the brother to finish. Right on. Go ahead, Lou. Tell your truth, brother. Don't be afraid.
Nah, I mean, look, I just understand the friendship dynamics that sometimes happen on these trips. There are times where people have disagreements and arguments about things that compromise their friendship, compromise their relationship, and we act like these things are not happening, like we're somehow making these things up because we're trying to write a freaking script for a movie or something. These things happen. We've seen this. I've been to Miami number of times, and I've been around people, and I've been around people who've traveled. I've been to Jamaica. I see and know what is going on. I'm not naive. We're all not naive. Like, social media has really made things very, very clear. We get to see behind the veil. This isn't like before where they tell you some story and there's parts of it that got chopped up. Like we see what's going on. Like you want us to operate under the assumption that we don't have the wherewithal of what's happening on these trips.
So let me ask you a question, Louis. Do you think all women are the same?
No, I do not believe all women are the same.
Because I mean, you go onto the internet to get your information.
No, I never said anything about the internet. I said conversations. I said conversation. I never said the internet. I never said on Instagram. I said conversations. Conversations among peer groups, amongst individuals that you're either in community, etc. This is where we get our conversations from, not the internet. I don't live on the internet.
Let me tell you where the argument come. In my friendship group, I got a girl who want to go on a trip every year. The argument come when she get mad when nobody want to go on that trip with her. That's when she start being silent because nobody want to go. That's the only argument that takes place out of a girl's trip over here. Because nobody feel like speaking on that.
2 times I got in an argument with my friends because I invited my dude on the girls' trip and I didn't tell him until he got there. And they were like, oh, okay, so that's what you did. Like, he gonna be in the room. Like, I still meet y'all downstairs.
Because some people, that I will say, some girls have friends that other friends don't mess with, right? Maybe that's a situation. Is that the situation you're talking about, Coco, where you invited somebody and the other person didn't know the other person was coming?
It was the girls' trip. Like, there was the last 2 girls' trips I had in my 20s. And it was a girls' trip, and it was supposed to only be girls. You know, somebody had. It was just only supposed to be girls. I just didn't, I got my own room. Like, but I've always been that type of girl. Even in college, like I just never want to share a room with chicks because I be having my stuff everywhere. So I always had my own room. That wasn't different for them. I just didn't tell them that my dude was coming. He just got a flight and came. And when we was checking in, that's when they was just like, so of course the whole trip they was acting some type of way because I had a dude there. I didn't miss anything, but they were just mad because I had a dude there.
But Coco, let me ask you a question real quick. Did your dude know any of those women, or if those women were in relationships, did they know their guys?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So your dude being there, he obviously knows these women, and he obviously knows the men who are in these relationships with these women, and they felt the type of way because he was there on that trip.
Well, he was cool with it. He was like, he was like, oh man, like you can go. Like he didn't want to go because he knew all the other guys wasn't going. But I was like, you better go. Like I want you to go.
Them heifers couldn't do it. They lose like they wanted to because he's gonna go back and tell that information. That's the reason why they was mad. That's exactly why they was mad. Yeah.
No, he wasn't around.
Y'all want to be hot in the goddamn pants, and that dude being there is like cop blocking. And y'all can't be hiding the pants like you want to because he was gonna go back and tell your man you was hiding the pants. I seen the way you was backing that thing up when that juvenile came on, and he was gonna go tell it. Yeah, Shimon, go on tell the truth. You know what it is.
I don't know the women that y'all be hanging around. I really want y'all to get a different clique.
You know what happens when
I really want y'all to upgrade y'all friends. I really
back that thing comes up. I know how you act. I've seen girls like you, Shimon.
Hey, okay, they want to play this. Want to play this last clip? Just get some feedback off of this and get up out of here.
May I?
Please.
I do think one thing, though, and this is outside looking in. This is just an opinion. It does not make me right, but I do think that from what I'm new to like the whole conversations that you've been having, like the newer conversations. I've been watching the newer conversations. The one thing that I do think is, even though it's the truth, there's a way to tell it. And what I mean by that is, I would love to see more of a protection around y'all as a unit. And why I say that is because if she's responding, does she feel protected? Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
But this is what I tell her, baby. It's too many fuck shit going on out here. And we locked in.
Yeah.
You know we locked in. I'm locked in with you. I'm in love with you. So for me to have to explain to the masses something that they don't even know or they don't even want to know,
right?
Why the fuck is that even important? My thing is exposing the fuck shit.
Yeah.
And by saying, hold on, bro. I can have this conversation.
Yeah.
And I can go back home and I have another conversation and we still are locked in even more.
Yeah.
I don't gotta lie.
I agree.
I don't have to perpetrate this lifestyle of something. And when I say cheating, when I say other women, this ain't something that always is happening actively. We've been together going on 5 years. So for me, when those certain questions are asked, I'm talking about over the span of 5 years.
Yeah.
And she knows everything, just like I know everything. It's too much, okay, I'm going to choose this and deal with that and not, don't tell me that. Because this is what I mean when I go back to the statement I said, you want the benefits, but you don't want the bullshit. You want the Birkin bag, you want the Cartier love bracelet, you want the house, you want the car, you want this, but when I need you, when I'm coming to you in a vulnerable state to say, babe, I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy with you.
Right.
I'm not happy with how business is going right now.
Yeah.
This is what triggers me. Okay, my trigger may be different than Cam, than Sam, than Dan, or Donald.
Right.
Because for Cam, it may be sex. For Donald, it may be domestic violence.
Right.
For Sam, it may be alcoholism. For Donald or Dan, it may be drug abuse. So, bullshit, benefits. You don't get to pick up the baggage that you want. You have to say, what's your, what you said, stay power?
Staying power.
Staying power.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to have you as a hostage more so than a volunteer.
Right.
Because I'm volunteering to be with you daily. I don't want you to be no hostage where it's
You hear
like,
that, Coco?
man, he gonna do this or I gotta stay because, no. That's not that. Because if you want to ask yourself this ain't no new way of living. That's what people are so delusion about.
The delusion
This
is real.
shit been happening for years.
Yeah.
Uncles, aunties,
Yeah.
dads, granddads, like everybody has always dealt with temptation.
Yeah.
And that's where I ask, have you been able to have that ecosystem? Because for me, I've learned with certain things, a lot of people can't cope with my lifestyle.
Most will never understand
That-
to even know that they can or not.
But even to that point, when I get triggered, when I go through certain situations, bro, I'm coming to you like, dog, I'm hurting right now. I'm weak. I can't go to my women because of this. Because even though she's so submissive, even though she's so strong, even though she has so much insight, even though she has a way of calming me in ways that it does feel like a drug, there are certain things that I say to myself and I'm like, all right, I got a place of refuge in her.
So, sum it all up. I guess you guys got to leave Cam alone now, huh? No.
Yeah.
What's your question, JR?
Really no question. I mean, he basically, what I got from it is that he has an understanding. Between him and this lady have an understanding as far as what they got going on, and it really don't matter what the public thinks.
And that's respectable. I'm sorry.
I think it is, but I don't. I think that what the doctor is coming from is, and it's not even about their relationship. It could be even about his, the name, right? It's almost, Cam Newton has his own dynasty, his dynasty, right? And you just don't want it to be overpowered by this other stuff, so to speak. And so I just, again, like I said before, it's just about why does everybody have to be in your business? Why don't you just protect the name, you can do what you do, but at least have protection over your household, so to speak, right? You can't invite everybody into your household. You can tell them a little bit, but not everything. You understand what I'm saying? And then if people look at her differently, you should want for my man, I don't care what's going on with my man. I'm gonna always talk to people in public in a way where they ain't gonna even know. I'm gonna always emphasize the good things, period. You ain't gonna never know nothing bad about my man, period. Pinpoint blank. Okay? What we got going on is between he and I. And that's me. What goes on in here stays in here, so to speak. Does that make sense? Like, I just feel like when you start talking too much.
Shimon, but until you go to a girl trip, you get a couple of glasses of wine, and then you're telling every goddamn thing.
Never. I'm not logging on if I get a couple of glasses of wine. I don't drink when I come on here.
No, I'm talking about when you're on your girl trips, when you're behind closed doors and y'all feeling that when y'all playing at Jasmine Sullivan and y'all sipping on that wine, all of a sudden you feeling some like you telling everything he do wrong.
But even with that being said, he can have friends that he vents to, that he can confide in, who have his best interests at heart, right? I'm never going to tell people who don't have my best interests at heart. People have had to have, I only tell my business to people I feel like have my back. Whether it be my mom, my dad, or people I'm super close to, right? And I'm not saying he can't do the same thing, but he's talking to the public. Like, he's literally on a platform and he's just like, you know, everybody can have it. Everybody can get it, you know, and you are Cam Newton. You are bigger than this platform. You Cam Newton. You understand what I'm saying?
Shimon, you know how I feel about that shit. It's a circle of two. And you ain't telling my business to any goddamn body.
Okay.
Why are you telling your mammy, your auntie, your little cousins, or your little nappy head friends you dealing with our business? It's a circle of two. We gonna figure this thing out between the two of us. Ain't nobody needs to know about what's going on. So look, let me help you out. My wife don't go on girl.
Okay.
You said what, man?
Can I answer your question real fast? And then you get so I was raised in a village. So
I
know that
you're
a lot of people.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of people are individualized, but I was raised in a village. I personally believe that when you marry somebody, your dad should talk to that person, and everybody should guide you in the right way, right? That's just how I was raised.
Period.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna always consult somebody who knows more than me. I know I don't know all, so maybe I'm handling this differently. So I'm gonna confide in somebody who I feel like who is successful in what they is married, and I feel like they have a successful marriage from what I can see, or they're doing things. She knows how to talk to her husband. I'm gonna ask for. I know I'm not perfect, so I know I could be wrong, and I'm gonna only go to people who gonna call me out on my BS, right? Not people who are gonna take my side for something. It's gonna always be somebody who's gonna be like, call me out on my shit. Because I know
that's what your man for. That's what your husband for. He call you out on your bullshit. That's what he's for. To call you out on your bullshit. When you on when Shimon's on her bullshit, me as your husband, I'm gonna call you out. Shimon, you ain't shit. And you know you wrong for the way you talking to crazy to me. Why are you gonna come at me like that? I'm gonna call you out on your shit right then and there. And that's what you should do to your husband. Call him out on his bullshit. If he's on his bullshit, you don't want everybody else don't need to be knowing Hink's on his bullshit right now. Because that's what you're doing. You telling your auntie, and guess what? Your auntie gonna look at Hink at the turkey dinner or the Thanksgiving dinner or the gathering, whatever you want to call it, and she gonna be looking at me crazy. I hate the way he talked to my niece like that. No, see, that's that bullshit. Nobody should be involved in our relationship but us two. It should be a circle of two. And if we need a third party, we're gonna go to therapy to get that help.
Or you should watch the way you talk to her.
From the sideway. Why is Kelly interfering on our conversation right now? I thought it was a circle of two, but Kelly wants to be involved for some goddamn reason. I don't know. Why, Kelly?
Because I don't agree.
I know you don't agree, Kelly.
Because the thing about it is, if I feel like I have to go to somebody else to talk about what's going on with me and my husband, what's my husband not doing to make me comfortable and reassured? Like, why do I have to go talk to somebody else?
But see, that's a problem. That's a question you got to ask yourself. Why does he not feel comfortable enough? He can have a conversation, or you can have a conversation with your husband.
I have to ask myself why he doesn't make me comfortable enough. I have to ask myself why you don't make me comfortable enough.
Kelly, is it something you're doing that makes it that puts a situation like that?
So I have
You
to,
should
I have to
My
ask you
wife,
something that I'm
my wife,
doing that's
my
making
wife,
you act the way towards me. When are you
yeah,
going?
my
When are you
wife.
going to ask yourself, what are you doing? When are you going to ask yourself what you can do?
So
Well,
Like
I,
so
if I have to,
hold on. So here's the thing: like when you're in a marriage, you guys become one. So all it takes is just for one person to be the bigger person. You know, you guys are not against each other. So if one person brings it up, it doesn't really matter, right? Who brings it up, as long as the conversation is being had. If somebody initiates
Exactly.
it, and somebody kind of just level set and say, "Hey, it's a lot of things that I could say, but I'm not gonna say it." But what I have noticed is that we're not on the same page. My goal after having this discussion with you is for us to get back on track. We got Thanksgiving tomorrow. We got to come around family. I want to make sure before we lay our head down today that we get it in order. It don't matter who comes in, but both of y'all, all you need is one person to initiate, the other person just got to be willing. And at that point, somebody has to say, we're not against each other, we're in this together. And we're going to try to fix this stuff. So I don't even know why we're going back and forth with well, maybe he need to look at it, maybe she need to look at it. What difference does it make? As long as the conversation is being had, that's why I want to be with somebody that got common sense. And somebody that's understanding. Understanding is important because when things are happening, you got to be able to think past your ego, your feelings, the emotion, and apply logic. Somebody has to be logical. Logic always wins.
So I have
But
a
you,
question.
but then you also got to understand too that because we are humans, people are going to feel. Who's going to regulate their emotion? I will hope the man is able to regulate his emotion, and I will hope the man is able to lead the discussion. Or even if he makes a mistake, even if he circle back and say, "Hey, I shouldn't have said this, or this shouldn't have happened, or I'm not pleased with it." But something has to happen in order to get y'all back on track because y'all are one, and that's probably one of the benefits to marriage is that you guys are understanding that you came together as one, and you guys gonna make this stuff work.
So what JR just expressed is exactly what I was talking about, Kelly. So since you want to interfere with me and Shan's conversation, but I assume you interfering because you're trying to learn. Cool. I don't believe in somebody else getting involved in my relationship. So that means Kelly, if you was okay, Shan. God damn it, Shan.
Did you just say
Self-control,
that
baby.
though?
Yeah,
period.
Go ahead, Shan. Go ahead, ma'am.
No, I just heard you say that then we will go to a counselor. That's all I
Yeah,
heard.
that'll be the
Okay.
that would be the third party, ma'am. That's the only person that's going to have an unbiased involvement into my marriage is a counselor, where we both agreed on that we both agreed to do a counselor. But you as sister-in-law, Kelly, cannot come involved in me and Shan's relationship. I don't give a shit how close you think you are. You're going to have some type of bias towards your sister, which is Kelly. We're not having this. It's between me and her. And Shan Monet, if we can't get it together, then we're going to go to a counselor, and that's going to be our third party. Not your cousin Kelly, not your sister Kelly. We're not doing that. It's a circle of two. We're going to figure this thing out. Either we're going to have a sit down on the couch with no type of interference, no type of interruption, and we're going to work through this. We're going to talk it out and figure it out. But if we can't, then we go to a counselor. Kelly can't get involved. She can't get involved in our relationship because she's none of her business. Because I don't know her intentions. I know she's not going to be unbiased because that's your sister. So to go, and I don't even want to stay on that bullshit, but Kelly, sounds like you want to get back to it. What's your question, Kelly?
I had a question too.
That's not what I said. What I said was, why would a woman feel the need to go talk to somebody else outside of their relationship? That's the question.
Well, this may answer. Let me answer that. So when I said that I bounce things off, for example, I can give you a real there was a text that came to me, and I feel like I was reading it wrong. So I had to get an opinion because I know I'm the kind of person I will respond impulsively, right? And it wasn't even read that way. It wasn't nothing serious like that, but I just wanted another opinion on it. And so I do. Or if I feel like I'm doing something, I'm okay with asking from people who I trust and believe in. And I'm sorry, I do believe that counselors are good for certain things, but I don't know that person's background, what they think, that's another story. But anyway, I prefer to go to people I trust and who have the relationship, our relationships, best interest at heart, not just mine, but the relationship. And I don't have my parents are not against most. My parent, I guess you got to know your parents too. So I'm not going to even get into that. So I'm just over it.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
that goes back to what Kelly was saying earlier. The hell with a man's feelings. He may not feel comfortable with you doing that, but you're still going to do it anyway. So you just disregard his feelings. You're going to go what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel okay.
Well, am I supposed to not go with what I feel okay and it's okay?
So again, I can't even finish. Go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead, Kelly.
I'm asking a question. Okay, I'm asking a question. My question is, am I supposed to consider him?
I'm sorry, I interrupted you for interrupting me.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I have ADHD, so I'm sorry if I interrupt. I just don't want to.
So now I know how to. I appreciate you admitting that. So now I know how to address you. But go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. I forgot. Go ahead. You go ahead.
God damn.
So,
well, I go ahead then, because y'all can figure it out. I just feel like that. Let me get to the point. I feel like that.
Yeah, we can't hear you, bro.
Well, I just feel like that. Nobody I'm just so glad I went through this so early. Like, I'm glad I went through marriage and friendships and things so early because, it is you're not supposed to. I know I got a best friend and everything, but everything about your relationship with your dude, you can't talk to your friend or family members about. Especially when you know good well you're not gonna leave that person alone. So now you done let this person in on information. They done feel some type of way. They team Chanel or whatever, and then next thing you know, you and him done talk like y'all was supposed to, but you done ran your mouth before you talked to your dude, and now y'all good, and you want to show up at the barbecue, and now you and your cousin or you and your girl, being tit for tat because they mad at you with the guy, and you got back. That right there is on a small micro level. When it comes to being married and things like that, I just had to tell my nephew's girlfriend the other day to stop telling her mama how much my nephew made. I was like, the fact that your mama is asking you to ask my nephew for $3,000, that means you telling that woman how much he made. I was like, so she got to know he had the money. She ain't never asking for that much money. My nephew just came into a big job. So I had to tell her that. And she was like, because she got into it with her mom about him. I said, you got to understand, y'all got a kid now. You tell your mama everything, but it's time for you to back up telling your mama everything. I said, because now you're sitting up here arguing with her because she won't let go of something that happened between you and my nephew 3 years ago before y'all even had a baby. I was like, that right there. I was like, stop telling her stuff and just talk to my nephew. One of my friends, I got married in my 20s. She just got married and she's going through a first situation where her husband cheated. She's calling me every day in the middle of the night and she's crying and she's like, why did he do that to me? And I was like, you need to talk to him. You got to talk to him. I can't tell you why he did that. And, this is years later now, and she came back to me and she was like, one thing I'll always remember is that you told me, go talk to your husband. I was like, I'm not for breaking nobody up. I'm not for that. I take relationships and marriage very seriously. And I can't tell you why your husband did that. You got to talk to him about that. You ain't going to find it nowhere else anyway. So no, you do need to shut up and talk to your dude first.
So I think that you guys are saying it from a point where my dude did something wrong. I'm talking about if I do something wrong, okay? If I need guidance on how I'm moving, I'm gonna ask from people who have husbands from how I'm moving. My boyfriend's not doing anything bad to me. It's how I move. I need guidance on how I can better move. Didn't I just tell y'all if you hear anything about my man, it's gonna be on a pedestal, okay? I don't say anything bad about my man, but when it comes to me, I know I can do better. I'm going to go talk to a person who has had a husband for years and kept a husband for years and get guidance. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Does anybody on the panel see anything wrong with her seeking guidance? So Hink, you probably be only, well, I know really is, but really handling something, but as a married man, do you see anything wrong with seeking guidance? So let's say that you possibly made a mistake. You just want to know if you're tripping. Would you go and speak with another married man that's been married for like 20 years? Do you think that's okay to do?
Yeah, I wouldn't seek no advice from another man about my marriage anyway. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't expect my wife to do such thing. No, I don't.
So
Okay.
I think what she was saying is
Okay.
she would seek reflection from other people about how she can improve her behavior. That's what she's saying.
yes.
Like she doesn't have any issues. She wouldn't go to somebody and be like, my man did this, my man did that. She would go to somebody and be like, I might have made my man mad by doing this. How can I make sure it doesn't happen again? What have you done in the past? What am I missing? Those type of things.
I go into your husband and asking
Well,
him.
I'm not
The
married.
advice from a-
But you don't know what you don't
a-
necessarily know what a woman can
advice
do.
from advice from another woman matters not. What more matters is the exception, the validation from your husband. I don't give a shit about what you other women say. The only woman in that's in her cooking my chicken right now is the only advice I care about. Whether she's happy or she's sad or she's upset or she's down. It doesn't matter.
You interrupted me. You interrupted me though.
Man, you went me originally, but go ahead. You're right. I apologize.
And what I'm saying is I agree. And I feel like in order for your significant other to come to a conclusion as to how she might have moved inappropriately or wrong, sometimes she needs to seek advice or a perspective from someone who is not within the circle. So I completely agree. Like your business should not be spread. Nobody should know your business. But if you are a woman who is at capacity, and if this is my ceiling of capacity, I need to talk to someone else so I can grow a little bit more. Like sometimes it's really about me needing to speak to another woman about how to process things, how to deliver things. It's not always something I could talk to my man about and he can give me an answer because he's not a woman.
I want to show up for him. I don't want that to be his responsibility. I want to show up for him correctly because I'm trying to be the person that I. So let me just say this. How is this different from y'all giving advice and saying, women, y'all need to cook, y'all need to clean? That's advice a woman can give a man. Like you want to keep a man? Let me show you how to get in this kitchen. Let me show you, come into this kitchen. Let me show you. How is that still advice? That's still guidance. You want mothers to teach their daughters to be wives, right? You want them to teach them how to cook, how to take care of a man, how to take care of a household. That's guidance. It's the same thing. How you should treat your partner. Your respect your partner.
But Shimon, all that's prior to saying I do. Once you say I do, then everything is hands off.
See, I'm not married.
Once you say okay, and that's fine. You're not married, then that's okay. But once we say I do, you don't need to be going and doing all those getting information and advice from these other. No, if there's any problem that you have, you need to come to your husband. If I have any problem with you, I need to come to you as my wife, and we need to work it out. You don't have to. Your mother don't need to tell you to cook. She should have already taught you that. Now, what you need to do is come to your man is, baby, what do you like to eat? And then I'm gonna share with you what do I like to eat and what I would like for you to cook me. And just like with whatever request you, baby, I like it when the yard's cut on a regular basis. I like to have our yard cut every week instead of every other week. And you know what I'm gonna do as a husband? I'm gonna take my big black ass after cutting that yard every week. On Saturday morning, I'll be at the cutting that grass because that's what my wife expects of me.
So
because she
I'm not used to.
Let me give you.
I'm not used to a man. I'm not used to a man giving. I'm not used to a man not giving the woman enough room to improve herself without so much involvement. I don't necessarily need my man to tell me every single thing. I'm an individual, so I can grow and I can bring my opinion and perspective back to my man, so we can partner and figure out what's next. You're not my dad. It's given like parent, not partner.
Okay, hold on, Shan. I do want to ask you this question. Like, what parts of it make it feel like it's a parent? Like, can you give me an example to break that down?
Sure.
Like,
it's just how Hink is presenting it. It's like I should have the option to go seek the information necessary in whatever form I feel like that's respectable to my marriage. I need for you to allow me to learn and grow the way in which I need to learn and grow. So if that means that I need to go talk to my sister about how I need to get out of the situation, then that's my issue. You got to respect me enough to know that I'm not going to tell too much. I'm only telling the part that is necessary for me to form an opinion.
Okay. Hold on, Shan. Hold on. Just give me 1 second, Shan. I rarely ever talk. So
okay, you're fine. It's your show.
So I can understand that, but when we had these panels, we got to understand that we may have been conditioned to think that this is the correct way. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the only way or it's the right way. The only way you can really see if the logic that you are following and repeating all the time is to test it. Like, have you tested it the other way? Have you had a problem with your husband or somebody you're exclusive with leading to marriage and started off by having a conversation with them? Because how can you honestly say that my way is better if you even haven't tried that way, right? So I think that we, as a whole, a lot of people fail at communication. And I think there's levels to it. Most of us don't even see it. Same thing when it comes to like being intimate, right? A lot of people never get intimate past a certain point because they don't know how, they never experienced it. Like there's levels to it. So I can see where, I mean, can you even see what Hink is even saying? Are you even
I don't disagree with him.
Right.
I don't disagree with him.
Right. So there could be some power with coming together. And I think the
Absolutely.
concern is, if you were to go to somebody else, are they going to be biased towards you? Like, I think something you could probably do is say, hey, Hink, if we're having a disagreement, like, who do you see fit for me to go seek advice from? And then vice versa. So at least, he knows you're going to a trusted person if it doesn't lead to a therapy. I can also see what Hink is saying as well. If you have a problem, the problem is with me. So at least give me the grace and coming to me first to see if I'm willing to correct or adjust, or seeing if we can meet. And then if we can't meet, then we can go to an outside source. I don't see anything wrong with that route, but you got to be understanding that this is what your person is asking from you, instead of it looking at it as like, okay, well, you're not respecting how I want to go about doing it. Y'all got to come together and at least have the conversation. And then if y'all can't resolve it, okay, well, I still don't agree with you. And make sure you listen. Don't just say, come in there and say, I'm gonna hear him out, and then I still don't agree. Actually listen and see what he's saying, and if there's some valid points or valid reasoning in it. And then, okay, y'all can't come together. Okay, well, this is what I think we should do, and this is what I would like to do. And then y'all coming together and y'all going to that common resolve. But y'all have to at least come together in-house first to give it the opportunity to see if it can be resolved. And I think that's
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that Hink is saying. But if you're going out, like, how does Hink, because at that point Hink may not feel comfortable with who you going out there with, because you never came to say, hey, I'm going to go talk to this person. You just want to go seek counseling in order for you to get better, but it might not be okay with Hink. And you probably shouldn't even be married if you're going to still seek counsel outside to try to figure out.
No, that's a big contradiction. You just contradicted yourself, because that's not what I said. First of all, when Hink said, I do agree that there should be a discussion first. Absolutely. That is where it should start. Absolutely. Right. But if I don't see things his way, or if he doesn't see things my way, I feel as though I most certainly can go ask my dad or somebody to express it to me in a different way. So I'm not saying that we should not talk, we should not figure it out together. But what I'm saying is, sometimes, even a therapist, sometimes you do reach out and you talk to other people to help you get a better understanding. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying tell nobody's business. I'm just saying, what did I do that can make me better the next time this happens? That's it.
Let me just add, like, you got to look at a marriage like your own bank account. Do you just walk around and just volunteer, just ask people, talk to people about how much money you got in your account, how much you negative if you was negative?
No.
Yeah, you might call, it's circumstantial how much you share. Yeah, you might say, what? I wonder if people get an overdraft, can I call them and see if they're refunded? You can ask that. That's not telling your actual business, but that's getting advice. But when you decide to open up and talk about things that's happening in your marriage, you're also opening up that person to offer advice that you didn't even ask for. So you have to protect that. So you're not going to naturally walk around and tell people what's going on with your bank account. And personally, that's how you have to deal when it comes to your marriage. You can't invite everybody into that, friends or family. But like you said, you want to go to your dad for a different perspective. Yeah, but you can still go to your dad without saying exactly what's going on. But that's something that you and that man got to have. If you've never experienced that, or you don't know that, you're not going to understand how you marry. So some shit's gonna be between just y'all two. Like, everything. With my girl, we hold each other accountable. For example, I don't have to tell her everything that goes on when I'm with my dude. I can just be like, this motherfucker getting on my nerves. And she'd be like, you know how you are, Chanel. Calm down, think about it. Don't be trying to figure out a way to piss him off when he get home because you know you can be petty. We do stuff like that because we know how each other is.
That's what I'm
Mainly
talking
because
about.
we know,
Yeah.
and mainly because we know that we want to be in that relationship. We know my girl love that dude, so we know each other, and we know my girl. She likes to just sit back and just. It's been going too good and just nitpick at stuff. And I'd be on the phone with her and I'd be like, there you go, stop. Leave that motherfucker alone. He off work today. You see what I'm saying? She ain't got to tell me nothing. Why she doing that? She ain't got to tell me the other day they got into it. It don't matter. You just hold your friend accountable, and you don't have to tell your business.
Okay, so this went left. I think that y'all missed the whole point. I just want to make sure. But I think it was a good conversation. But I just want to clarify. We talking about two different things. We are talking about two different things. I'm talking about before I get to him, I want to make sure I'm responding correctly, right? Because I know how I am. I can over exaggerate. I'm a little extra sometimes. Bring it down. We don't want to lose this one. You understand? That's the guidance I'm talking about. I'm not talking about he did something to me kind of guidance. I need to know how to handle this. I'm putting my business out there, not his business. It could be simple as, Ma, taste this dressing before I serve it to him. Because I want to make sure I did this shit right. You know what I'm saying? Or can you taste my macaroni and cheese? Because I don't want him to think I can. That's the guidance I'm talking about. Because we're trying to keep a man here. Y'all talk about once you get there. I ain't got there yet. I'm just trying to keep him to get there. So we on two different levels. You talk about marriage. I ain't there yet, Hink. You asked me about me and mine, how I handle.
Well, shame on that. That's not even about your marriage. If you're asking about the dressing and how do you make dressing, that's not about the marriage. I don't have no problem with you seeking advice on how to cook and all. I said about the marriage. That's what I'm talking about.
You said about me. You brought this up about me drinking wine and about me.
Did you not, Shimon, did you not hear the scenario I put me and you in? I said, if you was lucky enough and blessed enough to be Mrs. Hink, you know what I'm saying? And your sister, your meddling ass sister Kelly wants to interfere, know the business. No, you better not say a goddamn word, Shimon. Don't say shit to her. That's what I'm talking about. So let me get back to I don't want to keep talking about this because Kelly got us off. This is Kelly's fault. We're gonna blame all this shit on her. So she was saying something about a girls trip. My wife doesn't go on girls trip. She doesn't go on girls trip, and she's okay with that. I had to evaluate, and once I learned that, found out, I said, baby, we ain't going no more girls trips. Now, she could have very well said, Hink, F you, I'm going on whatever trip I want to. Then guess what? She wouldn't be Mrs. Hink. She wouldn't be Mrs. Hink because I don't play that shit. Now, you can call it what you want to, Kelly. I know you're going to say I'm controlling and a bully. You get it? Bullshit. That's my wife, and she's blessed. But guess what Hink doesn't do? Hink don't go on guy trips. Now, she could go on the trip with the girls, but guess where Hink gonna be at? Right there with her. Like Coco said, I'm in a hotel. She can go on every trip. I had an opportunity to go to Atlanta for my cousin's birthday party. You know who's going with me? My wife. I told my peoples, I said, look, I'm gonna get my own hotel. I'm gonna be at every event y'all do. Don't worry. I said, but my wife and I are gonna be in this hotel, and when we're not doing an event, me and her gonna be enjoying the city of Atlanta together. Ain't no girl trip here. Ain't none of that shit going on. Because that ain't how we roll, how play. I had to evaluate her friends. Certain friends she no longer can hang with because I didn't like her lifestyle, the way they move, the way they operate. You act like a hoe, my wife ain't no hoe. And you're not gonna try to influence with your whole ass behavior. So, baby, you need to cut her off. She's not good for the marriage. Now, people may say, oh, it's control. I don't care. I want what's best for us. And that woman is not best for us. She don't need to be your friend because she's not best for you. She don't have your best interests at heart.
I don't care.
Right on.
So do you ladies think about, you look at that as being controlling? Yeah, you do, Kelly? Okay. Who's up in it?
No, I know my damn neighbors. My neighbors decided they want to do a barbecue. So,
okay. All right, it stop. Miss Kelly, can you explain why you feel like that's controlling?
Um, Again, I feel as though in a marriage, you are one, right? But there are two individuals that become one. And I think what's most important, maybe it's from my experience, is not losing yourself in a relationship or not losing yourself in a marriage. And if we make decisions on what our partner can and cannot do based on our thoughts, our feelings, are we equal partners? Right? Like I realize that, the woman submits, and if my husband said that and he was gun ho on that, then I'd be like, cool, I don't have to. But why can't my husband or my partner trust me, a grown adult woman who's been doing this way before he got here? Why can't I make that decision for myself? Why do you feel as though you have to tell me what to do, or as though you have to influence what I do, as if I don't know that already, or if I don't already know how you feel?
But I feel like that's evolving. That's a woman evolving. You're evolving from being single to being in a relationship. You're going to change your mindset. So if you haven't changed your mindset in a relationship and eventually your dude says something, you're not evolving in the relationship. That's why he said something. Does that make sense?
Based on yeah, it makes sense, but that's based on his perspective,
Yeah, but your
right? So how
perspective
much
is
of
your
myself am I supposed to give up in a relationship?
as much as you want to. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like that you want to argue with him about going on a if you feel like you want to argue with him about going on the girls' trip, then you feel like your girl is more important than finding out what makes him happy with y'all two. You see what I'm saying? So you're
No,
all right,
because because
some stuff it's an
to me,
upgrade, it's a level to that.
it's not. I feel like for me, I don't know. I can't articulate it. I can't. This is because it's like what? Okay, what gives him the authority? That's just my question. What gives him the authority to decide who and whom you should be around, and
The
and how
Most High.
you should conduct yourself? And then my next question is, do I have that same authority over him?
The Most High gives me that authority.
Okay, well, he's
I,
not here.
fi-
I'm
I,
asking
fi-
you.
but I'm finding it interesting that women are seeing. It sounds like you're trying to choose your friends over your husband.
No, I'm just trying to exist
That,
in the same space altogether. That's it. And so, what gives him that
yeah,
authority to change
but
that for me?
because he might have a foresight that you might not be seeing. Like nobody goes into a relationship with the idea that you need to cut all these people off and you need to do this. There are actions and things that happen along that journey in that relationship where you've been around certain friends that you've introduced to him, where you've been around certain colleagues that you have introduced to him, and he has taken note. And in that time, collecting that data, he's come to the conclusion that that girl, Sarah, I think we should spend less time around her because I think she's a negative influence on you, and I think that she's negative in these aspects. Boom. Hence and reason. This happened on this day. This took place, etc., etc. Things don't happen in a vacuum. There's a series of events that have been shown, and maybe because you have some sort of sense of loyalty to that person or some sort of sense of fealty to that person, you don't want to view them in a certain light, but you're too close that you can't see certain things that he's trying to point out to you. And as far as the trip is concerned, I'm just curious to know, like, have we really gotten to this place where we don't want to take vacations? Like, most Americans don't really travel and they really don't take vacations like that. So if I'm with my wife and we're going on 3 trips a year, like, I'm trying to spend time with my person. We're trying to go and do fun things, fun activities, sightseeing, etc., and going out to eat and do these fun trips
Yeah,
and
that's not.
spend quality time with our person. Why are we exchanging the quality times that we get from our person with other people? If those other friends have their significant others and they come along, your married friends, their married friends, etc., and it's a married friends retreat or trip, cool. You get to spend time with the girls. We get to spend time with the fellas. We get to go out and eat. We do our separate activities, and then we come back, etc. But this, like, I find it like we're coming up with every type of excuse to like detach from our person, and that's what I've been hearing.
That's not what that is, though. What it is trying to maintain some sense of independence within your marriage. And my question is, like, why do you, if I'm going on a
There's
trip,
no
why do you
such
feel
thing.
like you need to? There is. Oh, there is. There
Two
is.
is
There is. There.
this person independent and this person independent do not work together. We're talking about people who are interdependent of each other.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No. That's the thing. Here's my thing, and I don't know how everybody was raised. I don't know what everybody's background looks like, right? But the way that I was raised and what I saw successful is a marriage where each individual were themselves and they came together for their family. So, for example, my dad loved to play poker. He loved to do certain things. My mom did certain things, but they did not do those things because they want to be with their partner. And how did a girls trip turn into I want to get away from my partner? No, I just want to make sure that my friendships are sustainable as well. We don't have to spend every night together. That's just I don't know. I just feel like
So why do you
if
need
a
to go on
man
trip
has
to
an
do
issue
that,
with
though?
one second, if a man has an issue with a woman going on a girls trip, then the issue is much deeper than that, because it's like I go on girls trips all the time with my homegirls and nothing happens. We literally just go away, go get manicures, facials, we go shopping, we talk, right? And then we come home. There are no niggas. There are men everywhere. So if I wanted to leave, or if I wanted there to be a situation where I would act different, I could do that anywhere. There are legit women who like to get away from the hustle and bustle of everything, clear their mind, because sometimes men can be a little stressful too, even your partner. So where's the break from that?
Yeah, I just don't understand. You kind of lose me when you say independence in marriage. It just kind of falls apart. It just doesn't seem like those two kind of gel well
So, for
together.
example,
And
do
I could
you
be
have
wrong.
a separate bank account? Do you have a separate bank account from your wife?
No, one
Okay.
pot.
One pot. Do you, Luis? I'm sorry. Do you have a separate bank account?
No, I don't. I wouldn't do it that way, and I'm not married, so
So
I
you wouldn't
can't
have a
speak.
separate
But
bank
if
account?
I wouldn't. Well, we would have. Well, this is the thing. How I was structured. There would be a kids account. There would be a family account, and there would be other accounts for different vehicles set up. But there isn't this like I have my own bank account over here, and she has. It just sounds like you're not on equal footing in terms when it comes to finances, when it comes to friendship dynamics. It doesn't sound like you're on equal footing about just a lot of things. And then these starts to become the ripple effects that happen in that said relationship.
I disagree.
So
I think
Kelly,
that the way that I was told, the way that I was raised
pot?
was my mom. One second, my mom told me that there needs to be a pot for the family, but there also needs to be separate accounts. So, for example, for Christmas, I'm gonna go into the pot. I'm gonna buy him an expensive Christmas gift with his money. How does that work? And so then also, if I'm with a man who has children,
right? But how's he gonna pay that? How's he gonna pay that credit card off with what? That you use that credit card for? He's still gonna pay. He's still gonna pay for it anyway,
I have
right?
my own money. I'm a breadwinner. I have my own money. That's not an issue for me.
Okay, so it sounds like
worry about that.
Shout out to the single women.
It sounds like So it sounds like you want to be a leader in the relationship.
No, I don't want to be a leader. I just want to be a contributing partner. That's it. And I feel like a lot of times when men who think they make a lot of money, they don't recognize how the woman contributes as well. And I have a lot to contribute.
I don't think there's been a single man on this panel this afternoon who said that.
I didn't say anybody said that, but I'm saying that's where I'm gathering. It seems as though that there's a hierarchy. And
so Kelly, was you disappointed because I said one pot? Did you thought I was gonna sit there and say she got a pot, I got a pot? No, like I said, when I come together, we come together in everything.
No, I wasn't.
And all. So okay, I'm glad I was able to impress you. We come together in everything and all things. I don't believe in this separatism shit. That's that independent feminist movement bullshit y'all want to do. Do that. That's your business. I'm not with you. I'm not married to you. You're not blessed to have my last name. my wife is. And so she gets all the benefits. No matter if I make more money or she makes more money, we come together as one.
Is she locked up somewhere?
Oh, she's in the kitchen right now cooking my chicken.
I don't make it right. That doesn't make it right though. Barefoot.
Is she barefoot? That's because she chooses.
Because I don't do that
it's
over here.
Because she chooses to be.
So
I know, I understand, man. But, man, it's obvious. You hate men right now, and I understand. You went through a hard time with your divorce. I know how you feel.
No.
I was in your
my divorce was.
I was in your position.
No. Me and my ex-husband are best friends.
But now I went to therapy, and it took a couple years. And
I hate men.
Okay, let's
y'all hate women y'all can't control. Y'all hate women who have something to say back. You guys like women to say, no, I'm not going on no girls trip because my man's not comfortable. That's weird.
Okay, let's unpack it.
Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say let's unpack it a little bit because we have two people with two different mindsets, right? We have somebody that says that we. It's a good
conversation.
And then you also have somebody that says that a woman's value, her image, should not be diminished because she comes together with somebody as one. Like, how do we look at this a little bit deeply to where we can get understanding on both sides and see if we can possibly get somebody to understand the point that we're trying to make. You know, maybe we can change some hearts and change some souls. Who knows? Either way, right? I mean, if somebody speak on like if somebody wants to speak on the benefit or either give some more support as to why they saying it, then maybe we can get a little bit further in the conversation instead of just telling somebody this is the way I look at it. Like, give some support for it.
Go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead, Kelly. I'm interested in here with you, ladies first.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? What would you say? Why?
I just want you to give some support, a little bit more context as to why you think that a woman's role and her value should not be diminished or brought down just because she becomes one in a marriage.
I don't think it should be diminished or brought down at all. I think a lot of times men fail to recognize the true value that most women, well, not most women, but that women can bring. Like, just because we're together does not mean that you own me or that you control me or that you should even have any influence or say in what it is that I do. There should be some suggestions, absolutely. And as somebody's wife, I'm going to take those suggestions to heart and I'm going to make the best decision for me, the best decision for us. But what it sounds like if a woman has any type of pushback from what the man is kind of demanding or kind of strongly suggesting, then it's kind of like I hate men because I don't want to do what y'all say, but I feel like I'm smart and I feel like I have just as much value. There's another lane. Instead of submissiveness, we can't hear you, but there's another lane where everybody could get what they want. Like, I'm just confused as to why I have to dumb myself down to be with a man, it seems.
I think you're kind of conflating a lot of the conversations with whatever you personally internally think or believe, because I don't think nobody on this panel has ever, downplayed a woman's value or ever downplayed a woman's contribution in any aspect. We understand this well. Hink understands this very well. You know what I'm saying? I just find it that when you're saying certain things, at least expand upon it. I add value in my relationship this way. I show up in this particular type of way, and I do these things.
But it depends on the person. That depends on the person, though.
My love, you gotta let me finish because you cutting me off. We're not doing this song and dance. This isn't Thursday
just
night.
Keep going then. Just keep talking then. All right.
All right. Then mute up.
All right, let's go.
Get that bass
I'm gonna stay right here. Keep going.
Exactly.
Put some more bass in your mouth. How about that?
Well,
who you talking
get that
to?
bass out.
I can't stand men like that. I cannot stand men like that.
Nobody has. But see, this is the thing. Yeah, you can't stand it because you can't stand it because I have been on mute along with Link, and we have not cut you off at any point in the program. But the moment we start speaking, you find the need to come off your mic and act beside yourself. I don't know why you find that behavior to be appropriate.
Because I feel disrespected, low key. I feel.
Why do you feel disrespected? I'm not taking any jabs. I only simply separated what we're talking about and what we're internally.
You are taking personal jabs.
I am not taking personal
Don't tell
jabs.
me what you think my conclusions are coming from. That's the problem. Just say what you think.
Well, we're responding to what you're saying. I'm not attacking you as a person. I'm attacking your points. So if you put it out there, we're attacking the point, and you don't let us
have any
even do
judgment
that.
on who I am as a person.
But
Just
that's
say
not
what
a
you think.
judgment.
Just say what you think.
Yeah.
Just say what you
Hold on.
think. Don't say that I hate men. Don't
Mhm.
say that I'm jaded by men because of my opinion. Just say what you think, because I could say something about you, but you wouldn't like it, right? So just say what you think without the personal. Just say it.
Yeah, this conversation has really taken a left turn this afternoon, and I don't know why you feel to personalize it in every single aspect, because at every single point, I don't believe that Hank was ever addressing you personally, but was talking about different examples. And even when I started, I separated what you were talking about and added conjecture. I started to talk about, I think that this is what we perceive, right? And because of that, it has been taken out of context, and it has become a very heated exchange. This does not need to be a heated exchange. You know what I'm saying? We're all different people with different views, different upbringings, different beliefs, and different value systems. Some things will align, some things will not. And we're simply challenging your belief system or how you think.
So Kelly, did you answer JR's question? I just want to make sure you got all what you need to say out prior to me answering.
I mean,
Do you feel like
I don't know what the question. What was the question? Was what value do I add? So is that the conversation that you want to have? Like, what value do women add to the table?
No. Like, I think the original question
what
that
he
I
said.
was, the original question that I was just asking was, I kind of forgot. Let me go to Coco and then I see what that question was. Go ahead, Coco. I think you wanted to say something. You don't have to say no. I just thought you was trying to say something a little bit ago.
Yeah, I did, but then y'all started talking, and it was like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
What are our ages? What are our ages like in terms of how old we are?
I'm 49.
38.
I'm 40. I'm 42.
I'm 56.
You lying? What?
Well, he's been 56 about 3 years now. We're gonna ride with that. So what's the reason for the question though? Go ahead, man.
Because it just puts things into perspective, like in terms of maturity and things like that. So I was just making sure that we were all like
How
on
old
the
are
same
you?
page.
Yeah,
I'm
but the age
39.
doesn't
I'll be
matter.
40 in January.
But you realize age doesn't mean it makes you mature, because you could be a 25-year-old
that.
who has maturity of a 50-year-old person, or you could be a 50-year-old person has a maturity level of a 15-year-old person. So that's irrelevant.
Right.
But
No, it's not irrelevant.
Okay, you're right. It's not irrelevant, man. You're right. Right on. So, JR, to answer your question, I guess between what Kelly's mindset compared to mine is she I guess she feel like it's controlling, because she asked me if my wife was barefooted in the kitchen cooking me chicken. No, she's not barefooted, but if she chose to be barefooted, she has every right to. It's a nice, warm, and cozy house and a big kitchen she's in there cooking on. She's taking care, you know what she is? She's showing love to her husband. She's showing respect and reverence to her husband. That's why she's in there cooking a meal. But please believe you me, if there's something that she needs me to take care of, her husband will take care of it. No problem, hands down. I mean, that's just love. It has nothing to do with control, because she's not controlling me when she's asking me to do certain things. It has nothing to do with that. No ball in the chain. Nobody's doing that. She's doing it all on the free will and how she was raised and brought up to be as a woman. Now, I'm sure a lot of these women who, if they was operating, moving like what she was doing, more of these women would have husbands right now. But instead, they sitting there lonely than a motherfucker, sitting in the playing with the rose on the nightstand. That's what they're doing. Instead of just the opposite and try to set themselves up for success, they set themselves up for failure. I don't agree when you say partner, because Kelly, let me tell you this. We're not partners. We're not equal. We're not the same. There's nothing the same about you as a woman and me as a man. Just because we both make money don't make us equal. right? Our responsibilities are different. Our expectations are different. So there's already a difference right then and there. Now, unless you a lesbian, that's the only way I consider you a partner, because y'all are both the same.
Yeah, I just feel, how does that make sense?
Oh
Because
my
I'm a
God.
lesbian? That don't make sense because we both like pussy. That don't even make sense. Men be so weak, it's ridiculous. Like men be so weak, they have to say things like that. And that's
Let me
ridiculous. Me being a lesbian,
explain
me
to you,
being the
man.
woman I am might make me more of a real nigga than you. For real, for real. You never know.
I'm
I just
not
don't,
an N-word, ma'am.
I just feel like I could say,
I'm
well,
not an
I
N-word,
don't let
ma'am.
men
I'm
tell
not
me.
an N-word.
I didn't call you
I'm not.
one. I just say it could make me more of one than you.
Oh,
But
okay.
you know, do
You're
your
right.
thing.
So again, in case you like you asked me my age, I'm 49. Back in the days, that's what they used to call people who are in those type of relationships. They're partners. That's what they call lesbian couples or gay couples. Used to call themselves partners. That's why I say when I hear people say partner, that's what I think of. So don't think I'm calling you that personally. No, I don't know you. I don't know if that's your preference, but that's what they used to call back in the day. So every time I heard somebody say, "Yeah, my partner," yeah, oh, you gay? Okay, cool. I can accept that. Shout out to your lifestyle. But go ahead, man.
Well, we do got to start to bring this to a close, man. So I gotta get on daddy duties. But it's a great discussion. I'm hoping that we could take away from this discussion and kind of reflect and think about some of the things that have been said, because we got to have open minds as humans, man. We got to have open minds because we don't know if we're thinking 100% in a way that would benefit our relationships. Maybe we can always do something better. I'm a student to life, so I can always do something better. So the one great thing about bringing people that are different on these panels is that they come in with a different perspective, a different way of how they handle their relationships, how they move, how they operate, mindset, how they look at life, different religions. We're able to kind of bounce those ideas in our head, because if we listen to everything that we agree to, then how do we know if we're doing anything better or we could get better? You got to be able to listen to things that you don't agree with. So hopefully we can reflect on this conversation. Even the people in the audience, hopefully you guys can reflect as well. And we'll just kind of take it from there, man. Let me see. I think I got some super chats. Big Ann 11. $10 says, I think it's funny how 40 and 50-year-old females giving examples from their 20s like it's the attention they still get today. Stop it. The University, $2 says, the example we set is great advice, period. The University, $2 says, martyr women are unfamiliar with true manyless. The University, again, $2 says, heathens are not in Christ. They do as they please. Thank you, everybody, who's contributed to the platform thus far. Appreciate you hanging in there. Miss Kelly, you got them boxing gloves on and you stood in there all 12 rounds. So salute to you for that. It was your first time there.
Especially with Hank.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Hank, what I hear
This
from
is
Hank,
bizarre to me.
yeah, from Hank, I always hear, I can't stand that motherfucker. And then 2 or 3 shows later, they say, oh, Hank is just Hank. Hank is the same way across the board. He's always the same person. I haven't met him in person yet, but I've been knowing Hank for years. He's a great supporter. He's a real humble guy, great father, great husband. He's honest. He's learned a lot throughout his life, and he shares his testimonies and tries to inspire others to do better than him, even his kids. So I have nothing but much respect for everybody on the panel, but just my interaction with Hink, don't let it upset you. Hink is Hink, and he's gonna tell it how it is. But one thing I know is he's not gonna personally attack you, but he is gonna speak his mind. So thank you for hanging in there all around.
And also, Kelly, I'm
Situation.
a feisty conversation person. So if you feel like I'm getting feisty, like I don't take stuff personal. I'm just the way I communicate. It's just a feisty type of communication that I have. It's my part of my personality.
Same, me too. I'm just overly dramatic, lack of focus, impulsive, and passionate. So my apologies if I came off any other way.
Hold on, let me get these super chats real quick. Shout out to AP Accountability Partner. Figure out a good time. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And we also have future $10 super sticker. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Luis. I need to say something. Okay, I thought somebody was trying to say something. Oh yeah, Luis 499 says, "Who hurt you?" Just playing with the 499. This is Luis on the panel. He super chatted that he's being funny with you, Miss Kelly. I think we're good to go. Everybody good? Okay. All right. Well, thank everybody.
Have a good rest of Sunday.
Tuning in tonight.
Yeah, so how many HR reports are we filling out tonight?
Oh yeah, we do have a hurt feelings report, Kelly. We do have HR on site as well. So if any hurt feelings reports need to be filled out, we can.
Well, my heart. I fill out one
easy.
for Louise and Hank.
Okay, for Louise and Hank. Okay, well, I'll have HR reach out to you. You know, just to put your email in.
No,
the
I mean
back
I'm gonna fill out one because I don't want their feelings to be hurt.
Oh, okay.
Is that how it works?
Well, it can work either way. I see you got that smoke. I like to hear that. All right, y'all. Catch us on the next one.
This was fun. Thank you for having me.